Welcome, welcome, welcome to our final episode of Stormwatch with Maria Ayudeli. How you doing, Maria?
Doing good. I'm doing good. How have you been too?
For the sake of expedience, I say I'm doing great. Listen, we have this final episode of Stormwatch. We have our boy Antoine here. Antoine, how are you, sir?
I'm here. Good to see you.
See, Antoine has the same reaction as me. It's kind of like, you know what? We're on live, so I'll just say I'm doing fine.
Yep.
Look, it's been a road, guys.
Yes.
Right? It seems like we started this a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
It is.
It's
a
been
year and a
journey.
half ago.
Yeah, literally.
A little longer actually, because October, almost
Yeah, it's
year,
like
maybe 8
it's
months.
20. It's
Yeah.
21 months.
And it has been worthwhile. It's been more than worthwhile. Why do we know it's been worthwhile? For this designation right here.
Huge.
Maria Ayala Eisner nominee, Best Continuing Series. One of the few Marvel books nominated for an Eisner.
Very few.
And yeah. I have a lot of things I could say. A lot of things I'd like to say. But I think the chat will take care of that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Welcome everyone. Please ask your questions. We'll stall your questions and we'll get to them at the end. The most important thing we can say about this nomination is that objectively speaking, you're a great writer, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
You're
you.
a great writer. And you left an indelible mark on this character. One of the most important comic book characters in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that again. One of the most important comic book characters in the world.
Say it one more time, like eternity.
You have
6 and 3s.
look. One of the most important. Let me make myself, as my boy Big Phil always says, let me make myself big.
Mm-hmm.
Maria Ayudeli has put an indelible mark on one of the most important comic book characters in the world, Storm. Not only just one of the most important characters in general, but specifically to our culture, she's one of the top Black characters known in the world. She is the top Black superheroine.
Absolutely.
In comics.
Absolutely.
All comics.
Absolutely.
Number one. And he has expanded on the character in ways no other writer ever has. And I say that in all honesty. Someone who's been reading Storm since the 1980s.
Yeah.
He's changed her in ways no one else has. He has contributed to her backstory, her lore, her feats more than any other writer ever has. Singular writer ever has. He has given her a run, 20 issues in total.
Mm-hmm.
Longest run she's ever had in comics. The fact that this ended early is, well, it's an emotional thing. But one thing that no one can say is that he didn't do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
As evidenced by the fact that the Eisners have recognized the quality of the work that he has done.
Right.
Dear haters, hi.
Yeah, because now the Eisners aren't important, Now they're not so big. They it doesn't matter because we're nominated. Storm is nominated.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone. it's a really humbling experience. It's a really fun experience. It's I've gone through all the emotions like a long time ago, but all the emotions I have right now are just joy actually. For the opportunity to be able to work on a series like this, to be able to work with collaborators as awesome as the collaborators we had working on
Yeah.
the Storm series, for the fans, for the support. It's just incredible. Like at least just last month, we were trending everywhere, everything. So here too, there are a lot of books that got um that ended, this week especially. It's the Storm series that's filled the conversation, everything. The support has been incredible, and I'm just incredibly grateful.
Yeah.
And the book has resonated in the marketplace the way no other Storm book has ever resonated. Ever. This was a hit. I mean, I have the screenshot of Marvel when the Shadows of Tomorrow came out, and they specifically said the two solo hit titles, Storm and Magic, were returning after the Age of Revelation. Marvel said it themselves. It was a hit series, and there's no debating that. People can feel how they feel, but the numbers are the numbers, and that's what it is.
Yeah, there was a lot of debate on the internet. So I was surfing the internet today, and I made the mistake of going on Twitter, which I'm not a big fan of Twitter. People know that. And there were people debating, Maria Ayudela, he lied to us. He told us it was an ongoing series, and he knew from the start it was not an ongoing series. And literally, just it literally the advertisements back then literally said new ongoing series on sale February 2026 ongoing series.
Yeah.
So I felt some kind of way, as I often do, about the foolishness people put on the internet. Maria, you can
Yeah.
say definitively it was your understanding that this was indeed an ongoing series.
Yeah, people, I think I saw some people saying that, but the solicitations always had one of this, like it's a mini series. And it's like, I think people don't understand that by the time the solicitations are there, come out, you've already written like at least 3 issues
Mm-hmm.
before you see solicitation of issue one. At the minimum, you've written 3 issues, and usually you've written five, and the artist has drawn three because if it's coming out monthly, you need that time. So before you see the solution of issue one, gone far. So just because solicits are 1 or 5 is like, oh yeah, you should have known by that time. It's like, yeah, by that time scripts are already done. Like, so I think people too don't understand that timeline and that time gap. So I think that's where it's coming from. Like this final issue has been written so long that I've forgotten it completely. Like, think I don't know. I think the art was already like done since like maybe I don't want to misspeak, maybe March or something. Like so, it's been done like way back. So that's just the thing. Um, I think some people also compare this series like, yeah, you should have known because, like you said, Magic came back as a mini. Psylocke came back as a mini. And it's like, um, Psylocke and Magic weren't going on during Age of Revelation. The only solos that's cut across three of the current eras with Storm and Wolverine. They were there during From the Ashes, they were there during Age of Revelation, and they are there in this current one. So those were supposed to be like the two solo ongoing series, that's went through all those times. So it's why I was a little upset that we were having a renumbering and it didn't continue. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, interrupting your series for the Age Revelation, which how many people remember that storyline? What were the ramifications of that storyline?
It's
Anyone?
still going on. It's still going
Is Age
on.
of Revelation still going on?
The ramifications are in
Ramifications.
in
Those
Jed
are-
McKay's X-Men. They are still exploring the ramifications.
yeah.
However,
The
I
question,
do
no, the question is, does anyone care?
the people reading
Yes,
is yes, people do care. Yes, yes,
people do
Paul. Yes,
care. Yeah, you.
yes, they do.
I know you're. I know you're not plugged into the X-Men space, so I understand. But a lot of people care. But the point is, it was announced as an ongoing. It was
Yes,
communicated to me as an ongoing. Even when the solicitations came in, and it was 1 of 5 and all those things. I emailed Marvel, got the response that that was an error, and the whole thing. Then I was told that, and then people said, "Oh yeah," like I also said the whole, like I only have 5 issues greenlit. That and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't mean it's a mini series. We had the same condition when we're working on the
right.
first ongoing. You get 5 issues greenlit, and you continue. So it's that. It's like, oh yeah, if you make this so numbers. But the thing is, when you're an ongoing series, comic shops order more, and
Mhm.
one of the reasons is because they know that this is a series that they can just everything to get the customers and everything, and they know that they are good for the next 1 year. They don't have to stress themselves compared to mini series. Shops are usually more reluctant to try, and invest a lot of human resources into getting new readers to join on a mini series.
Right,
A
right.
lot of some readers.
I never thought about that. That stores would be more risk averse to, um, the mini series than they would for the longer
Oh,
series. They'd be more. I hadn't thought of that.
stores. Oh yeah, stores prefer ongoing series
Yeah.
because it's a lot of human resource. You invest so much energy into getting customers, to get all this stuff, and then 5 months later you have to do that for another book. You have to do for another book as a replacement. But if it's
Right.
an ongoing, you're like, yeah, you have this covered.
But it seems like
Um,
Marvel is like there's so many mini series like that. It's
yeah,
almost like the new thing that they're doing. Every book almost has been announced. It's like, oh, it's another mini series. Great.
and how readers interact with them is different too.
Yeah.
If you see 1 of 5, a reader can just be like, oh, I'll just buy the trade.
Right.
Because if you look at the digital sales are very, very strong, but the comic shop sales are low, and it might be because it was announced as a mini series at some point later on.
Yeah.
So all those things are kind of things that usually affect that pool and and those things. Um, I think some people also talked about, if you're getting greenlit like 5 issues at a time, why don't you structure your story, for that? And fair point, but the thing is, um, s- I try to not have an expectation on readers that I would not have on myself. I read I read comics, I read ongoing miniseries, graphic novels, everything. But I noticed something when it comes to ongoing series. I tend to drop off a lot, around the third volume. Around the third volume, I'm like, I usually drop off. And I found out, just looking to myself, why do I keep dropping off around the third volume of not all, a lot of ongoing series? I wasn't sure why. So then I looked for series that I read like the entire 50 issue run, the entire 60 issue run. There are there are comics that have the same story going through them all through. They are not they are not saying, oh, Spider-Man, just an example. I'm not saying the current Spider-Man series, but like, oh, Spider-Man has this problem with Doc Ock, and the 5 issues it's wrapped up. Then the next
Mhm.
5 issues it's with Vulture, and then I tend to drop off from that. But you see stories
Right.
like
Because it
stories
feels like
like
a bunch of miniseries that's labeled as an ongoing.
yeah. So I noticed things like Donny Cates Venom. The way from the beginning we know that it's like God is coming. We know about Null, and there's this overarching threat of it. Series
Mhm.
like the current Absolute Batman. That we know that Joker. You know, is this looming threat that is just we are
Right.
building towards.
Yeah.
Again and again, everything bleeds into each other. Um,
It's long form storytelling.
yeah, I've said that for Marvel and DC. For indie stuff is like things like Why the Last Man and Saga, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Invincible, things that
Yeah.
have that large cast, and that's why the Storm series is also built that way. So I see people say that, oh yeah, but the story is not it's focused on Storm. It's structured like stories like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
After the last episode, the protagonist is Ang, but we follow Zuko, we follow Azula. We go through history to find out avatars of the past.
Yeah.
We find out more things about Katara, about all these people.
Mm-hmm.
In Invincible, you can have episodes about Allen the alien. You can have stories about Battle Beast. You can focus on the dad. You can focus on this, but
Yeah. Jed
Mark
McKay's
is the
Moon Knight does.
protagonist. Yeah. I think the first 2 issues of Brian Michael Bendis's Daredevil, Matt Murdock doesn't show up at all. Daredevil
Oh,
doesn't
that's
show up
right.
at all
Yeah.
for the first two.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Those are all these are storytelling techniques that
they
I
are. But
enjoy.
here's the thing with that though. The difference with those things is you have to have um, a willingness from the publisher, editor, whoever you want to call it, to invest in allowing the creators time to cook.
Yes. Absolutely.
You have to make that investment. You have
We.
to say, hey, it's not going to be, we're going to guarantee you 12 issues. So write your big epic storytelling. Let yourself cook. Let yourself grow. Let yourself get crazy, and write something epic,
Right.
which is the type of writing that you were intending to do in this run. Clearly,
Yeah.
anyone who's read
Yeah,
any of these 5 issues
yeah,
know that you had an epic storyline that you were cooking up.
Yeah. I
yeah.
think
For,
to
for,
piggyback off of that, I will say, because I completely agree, the investment part is not there for several reasons, but it should be to some extent because case in point, if companies were not willing to invest at least at one point in time, the X-Men wouldn't be here. They would have been canceled because they were canceled. They were brought
Right.
back because somebody took a chance and said, okay, we're gonna let them cook and see what they can come up with. And now here we are. Even as far as like our legendary Black entertainers, just as an example, do you know how long it took them to break Aretha Franklin? Years. Years. There were like 5, 6 albums that she had done before she went over to Atlantic. And then then the floodgates burst. But if people hadn't taken that time to invest and say, we believe in this, like this is going somewhere, I think we can do something, we wouldn't have Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
yeah, I think some aspects of it is also the markets
Yeah.
currently,
Yeah.
and also reader expectations. We're in an age of instant gratifications,
Right.
so it's also what are the messages that the publisher, what messages are the publisher getting back, what feedback are they getting back that would make them want to see if they can let's give this 12 issues. Let's look at Invincible, for example. Invincible had like quite a number of issues where the sales just dropped or stabilized before it picked up. Think it's probably around the part where it was revealed that the dad was evil of some sorts. So there are different things to that there's time to cook. Okay, one example that I was trying to give is this current arc. A lot of um, some of the most vocal criticisms for this arc is that, oh yeah, there's a lot happening, and it's like everything is cramming the page, everything is happening, and it's like that's the point. It's not a mistake, it's not an error. That's the point. It's supposed to feel like everywhere, every time, all at once. And it's supposed to be the chaos before the calm. And that's what was revealed in issue 5, that the reason why everything is choking Storm, the reason why it seems there are all these threats, everything coming at her, is because of eternity.
Mhm.
Because then it becomes extremely tempting that if Storm just accepts eternity, it's so easy. If she becomes Eternal Storm, 90% of our problems will instantly disappear. Like instantly, if she becomes Eternal Storm, Akujin
Mhm.
is gone, Egun is gone, like every other thing is gone instantly, and all that will be left is just the old death thing, and it's just be one plot. And that's the point. That's what eternity wants. That's it. So, and again, it's I think it's the readership now. The structure I used for this particular Storm Earth's Mightiest Mutant is inspired by Mark Grunwald's run on Captain America.
Oh,
So it's funny when people say that, go and read Mark Grunwald's run on Captain America. Go and count all the things that they account. Go and count, page count of Captain America compared to page count of other characters. Because it was also just like in this run, where Storm is a member of the Avengers. Captain America was leader of the Avengers, and his role as leader of Avengers was part of it. You would see him giving missions to the replacement of Thor. I think that was Eric. Giving missions. You would see pages dedicated to Red Skull, just following his plots in the background.
mhm.
You would have backup stories following uh this bounty hunting babes, with one
Yeah.
black babe that's dressed in wraps that is called in Kalaka or something like that. There are all these things happening. And once you jump into that Mark Grunwald's run, it feels like it's too much. But by the time you're like 3 issues in, it becomes incredibly addicting as you're following all these plot points, as you're following different characters and their drama. Oh, Diamondback um, loves Captain America, but his brother works for Red Skull, and they're all that's working together, and it just becomes this incredible, epic story that you just love. But so it's why another part of me is like, maybe I might not. I think it's just the ecosystem that we're in today.
The instinct.
And all, yeah, and also the fact that the market too is not used to Storm having a regular ongoing. So when they have that state of, oh, what's happening, for like the 5 issues, it's like, oh, this writer has lost, he doesn't know what he's doing, something like that.
Right.
Of which, if you had this arc in Spider-Man comic and Hulk comic, it would be like, let him cook.
Or
Mark
even like that
Waid's dead.
concept about the Ultimates. You remember that one that I
Oh
sent
yeah,
out
yeah, yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, this feels too big. It feels like it should be in the Ultimates book or something. And so my response was, what would that change?
Yeah, it's still that the people are not used to those things. Even people saying they want more screen time for Storm, I get it, but I think it's also coming from a scarcity mentality of, oh, we don't get a Storm solo so often. So if
They
you're
just
going to
want to,
get a Storm solo, we should have R on every page, please. So I
right.
understand, but it's coming from a scarcity mentality. It's examples we've given. Ultimate Spider-Man uses a similar structure where we
Mhm.
are picking up the entire supporting cast. You are following
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson, you are following Harry, you are following so much of the cast members that in some issues Peter has just few pages of appearances,
Mhm.
and different things like that. So yeah, so it's different aspects, different stuff. So I
I
suppose we're
also feel
following
like
his
a lot of
son.
these kids are younger and they did not grow up on the month to month. Well, I mean, I didn't, but I grew up in a time where I still remember long form storytelling. But just as an example, like they didn't grow up with Chris Claremont month to month, and so they're able to just binge read and get the entire story and get the scope of everything. But that wasn't a thing back then, and quite
Right.
frankly, there were people saying that back then about him. Like, oh, this doesn't make
Yeah,
sense. Oh, it's too much
where
going
is this
on.
leading
Why are there
to?
space whales here? Who are these creatures? And now look at us. All these years later, you have this tapestry of work. Sometimes you just have to follow through, go with the flow, and see where you end up. It's
You
not
gotta have
for
a,
you
you
to
have to
be.
have a level of patience that I don't think
Yes.
readers in the comic community have anymore.
Yes.
Like for example, when the run started, it was like, oh my God, it's just ignoring everything Lewin did. Where is Arako? What happened with Arako? But it was this fifth issue that Arako got into the mix. That Arako is in threat now. So if series continued, for example, you would have seen Storm to go into Arako to defend Arako. You would have gotten all the juicy gist and the drama of what happened that made Storm leave Arako. So it's those kind of stories that keeps bleeding and moving and things like that. So
So,
boy, it's completely understandable. I structured the story that way, knowing the risks fully. Yes, I wanted something like Donny Cates Venom, the Scott Snyder's Batman, some of all the stuff. So I fully and I understood that yeah, there's a risk of you might just get caught in the middle, and in fact it might not even be anybody's fault, for that. And I understand that, but while understanding the risks is like, yeah, I'm still going to swing big,
Mhm.
because if I was a reader, that's the kind of series I would want to follow.
go big or go home, man.
Right.
Mhm.
So let's check out this story. Let's check out this final story. But before we do that, fans, please hit the like button. Hit
Mhm.
the like button and share this video over your social media, whatever you're on right now. Just go ahead and reshare the video.
Mm.
But
Was
hit the
was that a
like
little
button
German accent?
and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. None of that costs you anything, but it means the world to us. Okay, so Antoine, you messed
Yeah.
us up last episode, man.
I know where they are this time because there's only
All
two.
right.
No, the main one is RB Silver, and then the variant is Yasmin Putri.
I
Love
have
the
a question.
covers. I love Salamander. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The salamanders. What is the significance of the salamanders? And I know I ask you this every time we put salamanders on there.
It's just that in some mythologies they are linked to storm gods.
Okay. They look kind of dope on this cover. And we're going to talk more about that in a second.
Yeah,
But yeah.
extremely.
I think I own most, if not, yeah, definitely most of the covers from your run, Maria. Have you heard anything as to whether or not Marvel, I know they usually want 25 issues for omnibus. Are they willing to go ahead and do with your run the 20 issues to do an omnibus?
What? No, we're not sure. I don't know. Maybe if the demand exceeds the perfect format thing, or maybe they will just combine it with the Greg Park's run. I don't know.
Hmm.
I see that too. Because I mean, well, technically, if we add, there's a cut. Well, it would be more like 21 and a few pages because they would probably add in.
The story, the 50th anniversary.
Well, not even that because he didn't write that one. The Omega X-Men Hunt Omega.
Mm.
They would add that
Mm.
in, and they would probably add in the Black Panther story that he wrote because she was in that one. So, because with those omnibuses by the those specific writers, they tend to add all of the little stuff that they do on the side too.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, if they wanted to, they could. They could.
That say that part again, Antoine.
If they wanted to, they could.
All right, let's jump into this story. I love the fact that you started by giving us the recap.
Yeah.
And this has made me realize how far we've come in your run.
Yeah.
When
Everything's
Storm
so
was
linked.
killed by the demon spirit Igun, that seems so long ago. She has gone through so much since then.
Yeah.
But that was 4 issues in.
Yeah.
And then Eternity resurrected Storm and made her into his host against her will. That act, I think, is what reverberates through much of this final issue. You had described Eternity as an abuser and the ramifications of the violation of having him take over Storm's body against her will. I think that theme plays really hard in this final issue. The chickens come home to roost. This new fusion of Eternity and Storm, this eternal Storm, defeated Igun. Now, in the Eternal Storm mode, you see at the top of the screen there, she has this all-white outfit, which sort of represents that Eternal Storm, this amped-up version of Storm with more cosmic power, sort of a cosmic storm in many respects, which becomes important later because after she defeated Igun, she fed Igun's compressed essence to Storm's teammate Maggot, imprisoning the demon spirit inside of him. More on that later. But, one of the coolest things that I enjoyed in the series was the Thunder War. I loved the Thunder War.
It was
and in large part, as you know, because I've been wanting to see Shango on the screen on the comics. I wanted to see Shango in the comics. And
people still reference that breath thing that she did with Storm.
Yes. Yeah.
It was so sick. So she takes on 4 of the storm gods, Susanoo, Shak, Sango, and Maragon, and defeats 3 of them. But what happened to Maragon?
That was also a story I was going to build up to next. That's why I mentioned it specifically, like there's one storm god left,
One storm god left. All right. So then moving on, we have the storyline where the machinations of we have these new demons that are working for Akujin, who's Storm's pissed off with his followers, and the demons are unleashed, trying to take over everything. And then Storm gets cast out into the multiverse by her mom, Cersei, or one of her moms, into this accursed universe. Specifically, she goes to Maypen, Jamaica, where she meets her daughter Furaha, one of her daughters, I guess, from one of the universes, which in this universe has been taken over by bad people.
I loved in one of your interviews where your Jamaican accent kept slipping out more and more.
You watch my interviews?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Maria. I appreciate that. It only comes out really when I'm around my family, because then it's like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, footwork, twirl, leap, stomp. You've just witnessed the forbidden dance of Ikungun. You may now commune with the Ageless One. Maria, what did I just watch? What is this?
He was on the title page for number 1.
For number 1,
Brought him back. Grand opening, grand closing.
Right.
Were you
That
trying to
was-
be cyclical here? Is that what it was? Having him in the first one
Yeah,
and bringing him
that's
back
number
in the second?
one. Yeah, number one, referencing someone from the first issue. I also love, some slightly psychedelic dream stuff that they make sense, but you don't have to know the sense that they make. So it's also one of the things I love when I see people that enjoy my work. They're usually people that can release themselves and enjoy the enjoy the literature for what it is and what it's trying to be. Like there are some aspects of it you're not supposed to completely get. You're just supposed to feel it. And this is one of them. You see it a lot
Damn,
in
man, that was kind of poetic.
yeah.
You're somewhat of a writer yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Salamanders again. Somehow related to the thunder gods. Shout out to Frederica Mancini. How do you pronounce her name?
Yeah, Federica Manson. The environments for this issue and Java Tatagia, like they went crazy with it. Like it just feels like all those old classic Disney stuff with this swamp scene and everything. It's
This
spectacular.
is art.
Yeah.
One of the things, and I commented this on a previous episode, that I noticed in this 5 issues run, particularly probably after the second issue, is that your panels got smaller and smaller because you were trying to compact more and more story into every issue.
Mhm.
And in that, your artist could have gone less detailed, but
No.
did the opposite.
Yes,
Frederica
that's why I
actually
like
went more
let's
detailed per each small
yes.
panel.
Mhm.
Yes.
Each of
Yes.
these
I'm happy you
panels
noticed that.
is incredible work of art.
I'm happy you noticed that.
Um, that's one of the reasons why I made sure I blew these up so people can understand the level of detail
Yeah,
that
the
she put
graphs.
into this art. It is and your colorist. My
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
God.
funny how it's funny how people have not mentioned it, and I'm like, are people like not saying this? Like, she's one of the best world builder artists working
Yeah.
at Marvel right now.
Very good.
Period.
Very good.
Look at that
Look at the
bottom
world building.
panel. The bottom panel. Look at the depth behind Storm.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
trees and
the
everything.
rock. She's on everything. Like it's
The
insane.
highly detailed.
And
The
if you notice throughout these
colors.
5 issues, anytime you're in a location, it just feels recognizable, lived in, and a place, you just know. You just like, oh, I know that some people knew this was Elysium before the text came out.
Mhm.
The previews with the text came out, when it was textless, they're like, oh, this is Elysium because you can just feel it, let me just use that word again.
Mhm.
I seek a way home. Now, as a storm god, is that the reason why she's seeing the salamander? Because she's a storm god, that she's communicating with this creature?
Yeah, looking for things that are thematically relevant to our existence itself.
Hmm. So he goes, Ile. What does Ile mean?
I think we explained this in issue 2 of Storm. It can mean multiple things. It can mean ground, trash, but in this particular instance of the spell, it means fall.
And so she did, and she splashed.
And she's way
And
down the pose.
She looks kind of down bad right here. What's interesting, she's surrounded by hippos, and the hippos were symbolic of what?
it's eternity using our own kind of spirit animals to trap her. You know, a group of hippos is a thunder. So Imagine trapping a storm god with a thunder. So yeah,
They have these tendrils going from each of the hippos to her, seeming to bind her arms.
yeah, that's the thing about the spell. Um, we've seen different iterations of it. The first time it was a whale that
Mhm.
smacks Storm to the ground. The second time it turns to an octopus that pins the other storm gods down. So in this instance, it's comes off as hippos that's tie her down basically.
So this is indeed a magical spell.
Yes.
Okay. So what's interesting, eternity is basically saying, are you happy with how things have worked out for you? I mean,
Mhm.
he's like, look, say what you will about me. At least when you wielded my power, you got stuff done.
Which is
Being
true,
bad
100% true.
gets stuff done.
Yeah.
Um, let me show you the cascading results of your folly, your hubris in thinking your superhero honor and uh, your will to not kill. Let's see where that got you. You
Yeah.
chose not to violently strip Sango of his life. You chose mercy. And what happened? His realm got conquered because you imprisoned him. Your
I also
government
think,
barred your home in your absence. They took the life of your friend. Character I was finally thinking was somewhat cool, killed. Gone. You chose to remain a god who would not raise these corrupt institutions to cinders. Basically saying she has the power to take on the US government and win, and she chose not to.
she chose not to. Yeah.
That's real power. When you have such power that you can choose not to use it, that takes a particular sense of will. That will come back later on in the story. Your mercy has only emboldened them to attempt their wickedness a second time. Because remember, what's going on in the Storm Sanctuary right now? We know that she has. We know the feds have Galacta's daughter. We still don't know what that's all about. We know that Storm has another person, a creature, heir to eternity in the Storm Sanctuary as well, and they seem to be going
Abraxas.
after it. Right. So she let that slide. Now, here's what we didn't know.
Yeah.
We kept asking, how are you going to bring Maggot back? You literally cut off his head because,
Mhm.
Maria Iodelli, that's what he does. He cuts people's heads off. How are you going to bring him back? So at some point, can you explain how do we get here? When does this take place?
Can I
So yeah,
guess?
this take. Okay.
I want to guess and see if I'm right. Does this take place? Because if we go back to issue, what was it? Was it issue 2 where she was talking to Maggot, right?
No, that was last issue.
Was it 2 or 3? The one where she's in like
It was
Elysius or whatever. It was 3.
It was 3. It was 3.
Okay, so
And
she
the
was
Elysian-
talking to Maggot, and at the very end of the conversation, I remember him saying, "If you bring me back, then you're gonna have pissed off all of these other like pantheons or whatever like that." So I'm assuming that it happened after that conversation.
Yeah.
Which was before Biarritz, but after the Thunder War, during that
After
time.
the Thunder War. Yeah. Between the Thunder War and Biarritz. Yes.
Yeah.
She's
So
still
she goes
wearing
to
the
hate.
same. She's still wearing the same costume that she
Yeah.
was wearing when she was talking with maggots in Elysium. That she's wearing here.
So she basically went to find him to say, "Okay, I'm bringing you back."
Yeah.
That's basically what that was about. Interesting. So then the question becomes, where's he been?
Where's
Exactly.
who been?
Those are
Maggot?
all these maggots. Those are all the stories we're going to tell. Like, or has it been in the Storm Sanctuary that we haven't seen him? Has it been elsewhere? Or has it been with Eden? Yeah.
Well, they might bring you back for another mini, so we won't reveal that.
Don't tease me, bro. All right, so she brings him to Haiti. Now, notice we don't see Jericho drum. We see his brother Daniel,
Yeah.
but we don't see Jericho. Is Daniel the one performing this storm this spell?
Daniel can't because he's in ghost form, but he can always
Right.
serve as a tutor. So he's been a
So this is
tutor to
actually Storm doing the spell.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
And this
promised that we would finally see Storm do dark magic, and you did. She
Yeah.
performed dark necromancer, Dr. Voodoo type magic.
Right.
Mhm.
Which is why they were looking for him. Remember, Maggot was asking her, "Did you find him yet?" And she was like, "No." So he's got to still be alive somewhere. So I'm pretty sure she was looking for him to help with the spell, so that she probably wouldn't have to do it. But then since she couldn't find him, she was like, "Oh God, I'm gonna have to do it." So in my head,
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. But there's ramifications with magic, right? Particularly dark magic. Whenever you use magic, you're taking energy from one place and you're redistributing it somewhere else. Right? That's how it works.
There's a kickback. And if it was just maggots, the kickback wouldn't have been much because that's what they expected. But the fact that Aegon was mixed in with the kickback becomes bigger than they expect,
Yeah.
Like you were expecting to shoot a Glock and then you find out that you're shooting, one of those, crazy rifles that, what do they call those ones? Is it 50 caliber? Or those, those kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's the thing.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, or great destruction.
Because she restored Maggot, got his head back, and then people's heads started to explode. Little side effect.
Yeah, I thought people were going to connect it, but people mostly saw it as, oh, he just likes taking people's heads off. That's
what I said. That was me.
Yeah, that people were dying.
I didn't even give it a second thought because it's like it's one of your stories. People lose their heads. It's a normal thing.
Yeah, that people were dying the exact same way Margot died.
Incredible. So, Scarlet Witch is investigating these head explosions, and when she finds out, she might feel some type of way about her friend misusing magic for ill-gotten gains.
Mm-hmm.
She's now the Sorcerer Supreme, so it's her job to literally police these types of actions. Now, in the last issue, we saw this person as a baby, right? It's the same character. You said it was like a character that was kind of based on the one you saw in Saga. Or is this a different one?
No, yeah, this is a different one. This is because she lost her head wrap. She had head wraps on in issue 2, so she has lost it. So this is her hair on the head wrap. This is one of the there are 3 Akujin, Eowyn, and Bogi. So this is Eowyn, the one that had the head wrap. So she has lost the head wrap because the fight has been tough. In issue 3, we'll see both of them fighting Cerberus. So this is Cerberus dead. They are
there's the 3 heads.
Yeah.
So what's the name of this character here? Do you have a name for her?
Eowyn.
Eowyn? All right.
Yeah. All their names mean the same thing in different languages. Akujin, Eowyn, and Bogi, they all mean the same thing.
Which is?
Evil spirits. So Akujin is Japanese, Eowyn is Yoruba, Bogi is English.
Like the boogeyman. All right. So we come across one of the soldiers of Akujin, um, saying, "Not the hectocont." I can't say that word.
The
Hecatoncres.
yeah, Ecatoncres. Do you know them from Greek mythology?
Ah, I was unaware of this.
Yeah,
The darkest rulers of the underworld.
yeah, they have I think 50 heads and 100 arms. Um, they helped Zeus in some of his battles. They're extremely strong. Even the gods fear them. So, but I think they are one of the gods of the underworld. So this is Aquagene, facing off with them.
Shout out to your artists, your art team, for in putting this horrible image down stuck in my brain.
Oh yeah, no, those guys are sick. They're supposed to be scary because even gods fear them. So
Mission accomplished.
first
Art team.
yeah, we had a design before. I was like, nah, we have to go darker. And she was like, yeah, say no more, say less.
Yeah, this is disturbing to me on a multitude of levels.
Yeah. So like all those things are little heads and stuff like that, that
Yeah.
have rotted.
Yeah, not happy with that. All right. He goes, "You've done it your way. Didn't work. My sister death is going to end us all while you struggle with these measly distractions. As much as you'd rather die than admit it, you need me. You need me. You are stronger with me. You get more stuff done." And she has this revelation. She has this literal epiphany moment, which she says, "The use of my mystical gifts, I've committed the same. I am a child no longer. Why do I commit the same errors? You did not know we are responsible for so much. We should not also carry the weight of actions we did not know the consequences of." Just trying to no, I don't want her to think along those lines. I need her to stay on path, that she needs me, not have her question, why things go on the way they're
I've been
going.
at existential crisis right now. I'm crashing out or something.
Pay attention to me. Stop thinking about yourself.
Right. That's why she showed her Faraha in the first place. He wasn't being kind.
Right. He was being manipulative.
Exactly.
Very manipulative. So she says, and I cannot say this whole quote, but the translation given by Tom report. Well, you go ahead and tell us, Maria.
Oh, the Yoruba is Tí ọmọdé bá ṣubú, a wo wájú. Tágbà bá ṣubú, a wẹ̀yìn wò. Which basically means when a child falls, when he stumbles and falls, the child looks forward. I think you see it in babies and stuff like that, for they just look forward. But when an adult falls, you look down instinctively. What tripped you? What did I step on? What did I? So, and it's to show that with age we learn to be more reflective of our errors. It has both strengths and weaknesses. One of the things is that for children they can quickly get back up and keep moving forward, but it also means that they might make the same mistakes often. But as adults, we look back a lot, we reflect a lot, which can hold us back from moving forward, but it helps us not to make the same mistakes. So the fact that you can look back and be like, oh yeah, I did this, it got this result. Now I have opportunity again. I don't think I'm going to do it because I don't want that same result. So yeah.
And we also get a cool water construct here too.
Yes.
Use water to chop my dude's arm off.
A water sword.
Which she does more easily when she's in the eternal storm form.
Now, is the eternal storm form in any way, shape, or form dependent on her connection to eternity?
Yes, sadly.
So he's brought her to this realm, and she's facing him, but tapping into his powers to face him at the same time.
because in the panels before, he kind of lent our powers to be like, you need me, like experience this power again so that you can
Mm.
know what it's like, know how easy it's going to be to end all these battles, and everything.
So she's reflecting on the things that she's done. And then she thinks about, am I truly the reason why all these bad things are happening? Because I stick to my principles and I don't try to kill and I try to be a hero. And she's basically growing up psychologically, in the sense
Mm.
that she's not wallowing in self-pity as to her actions, but being more reflective, as you said, and putting more context into her actions and saying, I did make the right moves. Here's the reasoning behind my moves. And she goes, if I did not confine Sango to a pocket dimension as I did, he would have fallen like every other Orisha in his realm. He'd be
Mhm.
gone, and all the Orishas are gone. The good thing about having at least one of them around is that with the power of God, you don't really die. Your power is just sort of redistributed, and you could eventually come back. At least one God is left, one of the Orishas left to help bring back the Orishas. The realm will stand. So it was kind of like less imprisonment as much as protective custody.
Yeah. And
I mean, it was
I think
imprisonment. It just happened to work out that he was safer in prison.
it was safer there.
She threw his ass in jail.
I think I think some people are like, people don't like when black characters are killed off, which I completely understand. Um, so the fact that quite some number of Orishas died in this run. Yes, Greek gods also died. Demons also died. Mandos, and so many other things, died. Um, you kind of need death to be a possible stake, when you're dealing with story about death.
Mhm.
And it's easier when it's characters that's you are the ones that created them, to be able to take them off the board than to do that for characters that are currently used by other creators or stuff. But what we should understand is that the intention is number one, be resurrected like instantaneously. It's Marvel Comics, but the intention is actually to mold Shango as a character itself. Shango is already very, very different, but for the Western audiences might just think, oh, it's just African Thor, you know but now is someone without his people, is someone. It's I like the way Rob explained it. It's like, imagine Black Panther finds out you wiped out Wakanda.
Mhm.
I- Imagine the story you're going to tell with that plot. That what will T'Challa do to that person? It's going to be Kill Bill raised to like a million. That's what you have with Shango right now. Is a god without his people. You know,
Right.
so all those kind of things. So those were the story potentials we were laying on ground. It's like Storm said, it's not. We're not yet to diminish black characters, but it's to raise them, to shape them, and create powerful stories. And or at least create the ingredients necessary for powerful stories to be told by other creators.
Mm. Sango will return.
Mm.
The last time we were merged as Eternal Storm, you killed Hadad Eternity against my wishes. And he's like, I made you break your vow regarding taking a life. Hadad was defeated and helpless. An honorable warrior would not have done what I made us do. So he does, being the manipulator that he is, He just says, she's really having this crisis. I need to throw her a bone. He goes, for my betrayal, I apologize. Understand, she's pissed. And he's like, oh, calm down. Look, you know what? Mistakes were made. I apologize. So she goes from about chopping this dude completely in half to calming down, disintegrating her axe, and continuing the discussion. Smart move as a manipulator. She goes, the Orishas are a mighty pantheon. They would not have known defeat if Hadad were not among the army of the dead, the person that you killed against my will while you were controlling me. You made us kill him. And the Orishas, kind of fell.
Speaking of detail, look at how detailed this is. Look at all the zombies. Look at the backgrounds. Look at everything.
The army of the dead superheroes.
Mm-hmm. The dead Novas. There's Sync.
Look at Sync flying up there in the corner. Magic. Wolverine.
That's one of the previous juggernauts. The current juggernaut has never died before, but there's a juggernaut that is I think it's Chinese or is it Japanese? I think it's Japanese because he was a sumo wrestler or something. Yeah, that's the juggernaut there.
The one in the upper right corner in the green.
Who's that? That's Ogun that died in issue 3.
And the one below the juggernaut in the green?
Aaron Lay that also died in the same issue.
Yeah. Those are members of the Orisha Pantheon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now his wraith spearheads Death's fight to end us all.
So much aura. So much aura.
This is crazy. You got Hadad, Apocalypse, Galactus, all on the same page.
Yeah. I wish I got to write this fight.
On the shoulder. You went all in, Maria. You went all in.
Mm-hmm.
All I see is a bunch of epic storylines. It's almost like an anthology ash can of epic storylines is what you did here.
You get it, and everything, would spread out, but link back, So that's the thing. So that's what people aren't getting. Like, these 5 issues is supposed to be chaotic. It's like, it's like you having bees in a cup, and just shaking it, and then you just release it. This issue 5 is supposed to be that release, So yeah, it's supposed to feel how it reads,
So is Orako right now overrun with the dead?
Sorry, I think I lost you there.
Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Antoine, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I still hear you both.
StreamYard strikes again. Maria, can you hear us?
It might be doing the thing that it does to me sometimes. It just, yeah. He'll be back.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the art on this page.
I know Galactus looks so cool. The color, then the way they colored him too. Yeah, and Hadad is a zombie. Oh, what we could have had. I don't know if you saw.
Okay.
Oh, okay, he's back. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Your art team's crazy, man.
Crazy, extremely.
I noticed that Dr. Voodoo, Avatar of Death, has a scythe, I guess you'd call it, or axe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very similar to the one that Storm was wielding against Eternity.
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
I didn't notice that. I didn't see that. But yeah, you're right. That was it's another thing I was looking forward to, was seeing more of Jericho, especially in this state with what he, what's going through and what's going on.
Can
Honestly,
you now confirm that you have a secret project from Marvel in which you're going to be writing Doctor Voodoo? Because that would make me happy.
I don't think so, but I think from the solicitation of some of the future issues of the current Orc series, I think is going to show up there.
But I don't want him to show up there. I want him to show up in his own book written by Maria Ivelli. Marvel. I like to have nice things too. Marvel.
We'll see what the future holds.
You would be the perfect writer for Dr. Voodoo. You would absolutely be the perfect writer for Dr. Voodoo. You could do so much with the character. All right. So we mentioned this before. The feds have invaded Storm Sanctuary, and we've got Abraxas there.
Yeah.
Did we ever figure out how Abraxas got captured in the first place?
No, we haven't. All we know is that, it's Eternity's doing.
Okay. And then she starts connecting the dots. She says, the resurrection of my friend Japheth would not have murdered all those innocents if you had not merged his soul with the spirit of the demon Igon. She's connecting these dots. You see her more at peace. She's not standing up with the axe anymore. She's sitting down, cross-legged. She is contemplative. Her whole body language is different. She's starting to think it through. Akajon would not be so determined to invade Earth if you did not imprison her master in my friend's body in the first place. The Scarlet Witch's faith and trust in me would be unwavering and unbroken, if not for the blood of the guiltless you have stained my hands with by putting your guy in my guy's body, and when I resurrected him, caused all these people to die.
Yeah.
And she goes, and then this is when she finally pulls it all together. Like every manipulative abuser, you chose me to be your host because of my proclivity for self-sacrifice. Everything you've done has been strategically designed to complicate my life, to surround me with hate, and put the people I love and swore to protect under a constant barrage of threats. My God, I know Chocolate is in the background right now smiling because he's like, oh my God, it's the BCL boycott all over again. We've boycotted. Watch our Wednesday wrap up from last week. You know what I'm talking about.
That's what I want to watch. I was watching it before we joined this.
Oh, you caught that? Yeah, this is this whole two panels is literally what we were talking about. This is our BCL boycott. Anyhow, I digress.
Sorry to interrupt. If people remember the very first issue of this run, it was Storm basically seeing the self-sacrifice, also maybe even sacrificing, mutant kind, and everything to be able to defend the honor of the engineers. And Eternity saying, I have found you worthy. People thought it was like, oh, this positive thing, some people are like, oh, it's power scaling, but what he saw right there is somebody willing to go through pain, somebody willing to go through, hurt and put herself in danger and everything for the sake of others, and that's what he needed in a host, someone that could basically, if it happens, die for the death of others, and it's that, like you said, proclivity for self-sacrifice that would, put our body under so much danger and everything for everybody, because that's what eternity is. Eternity is everybody. So yeah, and that's what he saw.
So Eternity is binding her with these chains and these tendrils, connecting to these hippopotamus, and she has removed those trappings. She's removed those constraints in this second panel, and she is in essence wrapped up the hippopotamus. Now, is she wrapping them up to keep them from her or to protect them?
No, they're floating away.
Mm. So that when I am finally overwhelmed by a mountain of worry, to dig myself out of the trench of despair you have put me in, I would have no other choice than to relinquish my body back to you, to sacrifice my will and autonomy so my loved ones can be safe once more. In essence, put me in such a panic that the first thing I want to do is turn to you, use your power so that you can control and use me yet again.
Yeah, it's
But
like
here's
having,
the thing.
for example, a rich abusive boyfriend, for example.
Yeah.
If he had the power, it would just if he wants you to take him back, maybe that's the day all the bills, you're going to get caught all the bills is where, you know, this person is going to say, oh yeah, you owe me this money, this thing, that you would have no choice to be like, you know, can you loan me some money, please?
Right.
As much as I've seen people, have their feelings or criticisms about this issue because of all the um, feelings of, man, I wish I'd gotten to finish out all these storylines. This main storyline, this main discussion with eternity, truly is a wrap up of the series because
Yeah, it's a wrap up from
it
issue.
reflects that journey.
Mhm.
Go ahead, talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what the entire series has been about. I think it's I don't want to be someone that blames the reader because everybody's open to interpretation as what art is. But I think it also comes from some misinterpretation of people thinking, oh, the villain of the story was Haddad,
Yeah.
or the villain of the story was Oblivion. So people are like, I can see some people be like, so we never got the Oblivion fight, so we never got the fight with Oblivion, and it's like
Yeah. What were you
Oblivion
reading?
was never Oblivion was not even a bad guy in the story. Oblivion was never the big bad. It was a red herring, yes, someone that felt like it was the big bad. But the big bad has always been eternity. It's
Eternity.
always been there since issue one. The narration there says it, that the universe wants Storm dead. The entire volume one was eternity trying to kill Storm so that Storm would be more susceptible, to the process of becoming his host and being resurrected, And volume two is Thunder War. What caused the Thunder War is the fact that the other storm gods are jealous that eternity chose, Storm, and the fact that Haddad, who was someone that eternity used and dumped, if we're going to see this as it's not a complete one for one, but we're going to see this as a boyfriend, this is volume one is basically him trying to force his way into her life, and issue two is all his exes, you know, coming to cause trouble with you.
Mhm.
That's even in a relationship that you are not even willingly in, And this is him now surrounding you with this volume is him surrounding you with every single problem, every single trouble, making enemies out of every single friend you've ever had, isolating you so that you would have no choice but to accept him and say, okay, you know what? Yes, we can get married, or yes, you can be my boyfriend, something. And you finally standing up to say, no. Like, I don't care how much trouble you put me in. I don't care how isolated I am. I don't care if I have to live alone or something. It's a no. Eternity is the big bad. So, and we get that, Act 3, no to eternity. So it's not, all these things are like subplots and all these other things. It's the main plot is Storm versus eternity. It was never Oblivion, it was never Haddad, So I also think some complaints. Now, don't get me wrong, most people enjoyed it. Most people have been running through this series. Most of the things we are seeing online is people calling out Marvel, like, which please be careful. I don't want it to seem like I'm the one like sending people out to, say that, attack people to say my book should come back or something. Like, no, it's not that at all. Like, so, but a lot of people enjoy this series, so there's that, and a lot of people know that eternity is the big bad. I think
Mhm.
some of just the few, maybe negative stuff is people not realizing that eternity is the antagonist
Yeah.
of the story. So, and once you realize that, once you go back to reread it from the narration, from the everything, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it.
So once she realizes she's being manipulated, she's like, enough. I'm done with you. And here's the thing. She goes from having this revelation, this epiphany, that she's being manipulated by him constantly, and she decides to make a decision. Now she has, because remember, this entire time he's tempting her. He's saying, "You need me. Have a little bit of my power. Feel how good that feels. Feel how good it is to be the eternal storm. Imagine all the things that you could have fixed and you could have done a different way if you'd simply stuck with me and used these powers." And she's like, "Not really. Everything that you've done actually led to all these problems. Every time I've used your powers, it has been for bad, and I've gotten bad results. So you know what I'm going to do? This power you gave me, I'm going to give it back to you, as evidenced by the
Mhm.
fact that you have this costume change. She's no
Yeah.
longer Eternal Storm. She gives up the powers that eternity has given her and goes back to herself. I don't
Yes.
need your power. I am Storm. I'm the Hadari
I,
Yao.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
I'm going to do my own thing, right? Never again, never again, we will be reunited.
So I just use that title page as a form of mini spoiler to show that from issue 2 we saw that she would have to, for the final everything, she would have to fight Zombie
Right.
Strange, just to show that Zombie Strange will get defeated by Storm. Just a little sneak this thing. Also, another thing, I also think some people are also forgetting. I understand that the ending might not be the ending you expected for this, but if you read um Storm, the first volume, if you read Thunder War, if you don't read Rogue Storm, if you just wait on Rogue Storm and you come back to read this one, that's 3 volumes, and then after you read Rogue Storm feels like the ending
Mm.
because it's 10 years later. It wraps
Yeah.
up so many things, like, oh, she has already faced Death's army. Aegon was next, was last, and she had all this big battle, all those stuff. But
Right.
Akujin came back to, you see all the old Akujin thing. You see why Akujin is the only one that is left. Is
Yes.
because she lost 2 of her sisters, one to Olympus, one to Tartarus. You can see why she's as mean and as mean spirited as she is when she takes down the X-Men. You just see everything and it just makes sense. So yeah, it does
That
feel
makes
like
sense.
that end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think so. The reason why it might not feel like that ending is because you read Rook Storm first because of how it came out. But if you read this and then read Rook Storm, it's like, oh, this is the epilogue.
Yeah. All right. So we have this beautiful moment.
Mm.
6 years after the birth of Aurora Monroe, she's 6 years old. She's on the couch. Is this back in New York or is this in
Egypt.
Egypt? Okay, so this is in Egypt.
The
This is
previous flashback was in New York. This one
in
is
New York.
in Cairo.
All right. And she's talking about the ruby medallion which Storm had given away to pay for medical treatment at the hospital that specialized in mutants. She gave it away as payment. And she goes, if it was a gift, mother, why are you taking it from me? She's speaking Swahili. Shout out to you for having this cool, very culturally Black moment of a mother doing her child's hair. This is dope. She goes, it's not a gift, Aurora. Braiding your hair, cooking for you, those are gifts of service. The comic books you've littered your room with, the toys in your closet, those are material gifts. I highlighted comic books because just so we're clear, just so we are now clear, everything Morea's done in this series is canon. And he is canonically established. He is canonically established that Amora Monroe is a comic head.
Yeah, it's one thing. We all know she reads a lot, especially fiction, but we've not known that she reads comics. So it's something I was always planning to establish. There's this comic that this person has been reading, Agent Fabi. So it's something I've always planned working on, that they would coincidentally be reading the same series, that they will have that in common.
And one of my favorite covers that you had in the series is one where Storm was sitting there. They're sitting in the chair,
Yes.
legs crossed, and she's reading a comic book.
Yes.
So I thought that this is dope. Anyhow, going further down the rabbit hole of this discussion, I feel like there's some significance to that particular comb that her mother is using.
Oh yeah, it's called ilarum here in my own language. It's I don't know the word to use. What do you guys call it? Is it a pattern comb? It's basically what we used to, like, do
We call it a
thing.
Oh. It's not a hair pick per se, because there's not enough teeth for that, but
Right. Yeah. So it's basically for just that thing where have to pat it, to do that hair separation thing. That's its job. So there are like two combs. There are like multiple combs there. There's one for the combing out of the hair when it's soft, but this particular one that has the 3 teeth is just for that parting thing.
It's cool to see Storm's hair texture like this. We don't often get to see, because for all intents and purposes, this is Storm. She's 6 years old. Her mom's doing her hair. This is Storm's natural hair. That's Storm's hair in its most natural state.
Yeah.
So I thought this was kind of cool. We don't often get to see her like this. But she goes, no, our family heirloom is not a gift. It was an honor I bestowed upon you as my daughter and princess. We always forget Storm's mother was a princess. Storm's a princess. She's royalty by birth. And honor, my daughter, can be bestowed and can be taken away. Honor can be bestowed and it can be taken away. And that's like a lesson that, Storm learned early on and carried with her.
Yeah, I love Federica's drawing here, by the way.
What?
I said I loved Federica's drawing for that sequence, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you see her crying here where she goes, I have no honor. What scene was this where she was having this moment where she was upset that she had no honor?
Issue 1 of this new volume, where she tricked Susano. That was the words she said. She says, I have no honor.
So you quickly discover that what she's talking about in terms of the gift is the ruby.
Yeah.
Will you bestow it upon someone else? You do not think I'm honorable. That's the thing with honor. It can be lost, but it can also be earned. The ruby is not forever beyond your reach. How can I earn my honor back if the other children continue to make fun of me in school? They jest about my hair and my eyes. They mock the way I speak the language. All things you didn't really think about. She probably went through as a child, back
Mm-hmm.
before her
Yeah, that
parents died.
Yeah.
yeah, the accents are probably all messed up, from Kenya accents to American accents, and then mix it up with, Egyptian accents while going to an Egyptian school.
Yeah,
She was going to sound weird.
because at this point she's speaking probably whatever language her mother is native to her from Kenya. She's got the Swahili, she's got the Egyptian, she's got English. So she probably has a very unique accent when she's speaking all these various languages this age.
Yeah.
So before we move on for that, so my understanding of that scene was that her mother took, because of them talking about the children, so her mother took the ruby for her because she got in trouble at school.
Yes.
Okay, just curious.
So but then I'm now linking it with, what's happening right now
Right.
with the Storm Sanctuary, with Biarritz, with everything, she's not with her ruby. It feels like the universe, the world has taken a ruby from her. She doesn't feel like she has honor because of what she did with Susano, because she's not be able to manage all this crisis properly, you
Yeah.
and all those aspects, And there's also aspects of me there too, At this point where I was writing the story, it's, you feel, which is still happening now, people feeling the need to be like, you know what, we're going to, cook up stories to get him fired. We're going to say he did this, he did that, and so many things, which they're already doing now too. Like, oh yeah, he lied about this thing. You just wanted to get your money and all those stuff, So yeah, so it's also me speaking to myself of, sometimes it feels unfair, you can't fight back. You can't just go online and start attacking people with cartoon DPs and cartoon usernames, and all those stuff,
Yeah.
And two
So
followers.
yeah,
Living in their grandmother's basement.
yeah, and it's the fact that they would do everything to hit at you while you have to retain your honor. You have to be a good representation of, if I'm, even though that's not what we want, but sadly that's how life is. I don't want to
Yeah.
mess things up so badly that Marvel will be like, oh man, never put a Nigerian writer on,
Right.
any of our comic books
They are too petty.
again, oh man, yeah, all these black writers, man, they're always so angry, you don't want that too. So there's so many things you have to do for honor, so you have to have that control and everything. And the people throwing stones at you don't have to abide by those rules. They don't have to abide by those honor. So it feels like an unfair fight. So, and that's what Storm feels, everything is so unfair, and it's the mother saying, yeah, but your honor shouldn't be dependent on other people's honor, and validation.
Right.
So, yeah.
And most notably, given the mistakes, errors, however you want to view it, that she's made, she remembers the message her mother told her that she can still earn her honor back.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, how can I earn my honor back while other children continue to act without honor? Well, as you grow older, you'll realize that change is hard, slow, and painful for the most. Some are even hopelessly incapable of it. But the good news is your honor is not dependent on theirs. Your good deeds do not require their validation to shine brightly. Why must I retain my honor if most people are without it? You asked the wrong question, Binti Yangu Mpendwa. The correct question is why not? What does Binti Yangu Mpendwa mean?
Oh, I think it's my dear daughter.
Ah,
Can we check it? Anto, can you quickly check it?
You're gonna check it real quick?
Yeah, because sometimes I check some of this stuff and I've forgotten.
All right.
Thank you,
But
my,
can we
my
talk about the
precious
fact that how
daughter
cute Storm looks with the cornrows, with the braids?
with the cornrows. White cornrows.
Why can't that be a thing? Can we have a series where she wears her cornrows?
No, there's one. There's one. Isn't there? The one where she was trying to buy plantain and Rogue was giving her advice on stuff
Oh, right.
for
Yeah.
T'Challa.
That was the it was a one shot, but it was two parts to it that she was in. The X-Men one. What was
I think
it?
she was in. I think it was cornrows, not braids. Was it? I don't know.
It was like it was weird. It was like braids in a way. It was rendered a little strangely, but they were braided. Yeah.
We're gonna circle back to that in a second. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Faraha's mom. One day before Akashin's invasion of Earth. Where? Mirpin, Jamaica. Earth 61391.
The one above all's cluster.
I mean, on the one hand, I'm happy to see my grandmother's old town in a comic
Being
book.
wrecked.
I've never seen this Maypen, Jamaica ever represented in any comic book ever. So this is cool. But then you wrecked it. So it's kind of a
Sentinels wrecked it.
it's kind of a catch-22 for me.
Sorry
One of
about
the
that.
beautiful places on Earth got just trashed by Sentinels. But her people are all amazed by her. The interesting thing, she comes in like this, but she quickly goes from this and changes into. You see her transitioning?
Yeah.
Here's the outfit. She still has the outfit here. And then you have this halfway thing where her clothes are still basically the same, but she's growing the horns from the cosmic storm. And then by the time she gets to the ground, she's got the full thing. Talk about that.
Yeah, that middle one was the state she was in issue. Was that issue 2 or issue 3?
Issue 3, the beginning of 3.
Yeah, that was state in issue 3. So we need to show that, that's the halfway mark, and that's the full one.
You literally sort of showed her changing. This panel to the right. That's my favorite version of Storm right there.
Yeah, that was a full transformation.
Now, this is the version of Storm that's fully Storm. There's no eternity in her whatsoever, right?
No.
This is the ultimate version of Storm, her most powerful state for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, where her crown was like all, like horns.
Yeah. What's also the in between the horns, is that her ruby?
Is a circle.
Is it just a circle?
No. It's still part of the crown horns thing.
Yeah. All right. So they're talking about the fact that this is in essence an alternate Earth, that there's a time differential, time's moving differently. She doesn't know how long she can stay, because she could stay 5 minutes here and it'd be like, a year back where she's from. But her daughter, Faraha, gives her a gift. But it's not a gift. It's the restoration of the honor. Can you talk about this scene?
Yeah, it's me again playing with the story of Storm's mother, taking the ruby back, and now Storm has to take the ruby back from Faraha, but this time it's changed, also playing around with what are the differences between Storm's relationship with her mom and Faraha's relationship with her, so it's Storm having to reassure Farah that I'm not taking away the ruby from you because of dishonor, that you've been extremely honorable. I just, need this, seeing that Storm has to leave Furaha, and how she is able to say that, don't worry, I'll be back, how she's able to read all the things from the little expressions, because Storm has gone through tragedy. She also lost, her parents at 6. She was able to read it instantly that, oh, Furaha has lost her own Storm. This Furaha has lost her own Storm at the age of 6 as well. So all those things, just playing around with how, even though I love Indari as a mother, but how different of a mother Storm is. Storm is more attentive, and because Storm has a different experience, she's a princess, but she didn't grow up a princess. She grew up on the streets.
Right.
She grew up with so much pain, much more pain than Ndari. She can recognize it better, and she knows how to interact with it better. She also knows how to allow the child to be independent much more than Ndari. Indari is more of a protective mother than Storm is. So just playing around with some of those dynamics. That's what happened in those little 2-page sequence.
And it's interesting if you think about it. Nadari's, her experience growing up would have been completely, like you said, completely different from Storm's, because she was a princess. She didn't really know anything about hardship or that type of struggle or being talked about or weird.
Yeah, she immediately went to America and was like, "No,
I can't do
I'm
it.
not doing this."
She was like, "No, take it back. This is not for me. This is ghetto. Like, nah."
What is the symbolism of these hands behind Storm?
They just look cool, man.
It just looks cool. All right.
And I wanted it that, when she's fighting, she has extra arms to beat you up with,
So the mystery of how does Storm get her ruby back has been determined.
Yeah, she got it from the future.
And
so I wanted her to get the ruby back without having to actually take the ruby from people in need.
Right.
Because she did give the ruby to people in need,
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, the ruby is not limited by space and time. So why does she need to take the ruby from people in the hospital? I saw a lot of people suggesting that, during the run of the series, like, just let her take the ruby back from that doctor. And like, dude, that's not Storm. So it's like, yeah, she can take the ruby instead of taking from the past, just take it from the future.
And the interesting thing is, you realize in terms of relationship, Furaha, her mother Storm, in her timeline died when she was 6, the same age that Storm's parents died.
And that's why that Indari sent her here so that, when she was saying that you would feel the way I do, if you also, that Indari loves Storm too, that Indari never had her own Ororo, but loves this Ororo that doesn't have an Indari. And it's like, oh, I'll put you in the same situation. I would introduce you to a Furaha that does not have a Storm, and I will see how you'd behave. But Storm doesn't behave the same way.
Yeah. One of the questions that kept popping up, obviously, is who's Furaha's daddy? We don't find out who that is.
Yeah, it's not relevant to the story. It's that connection through time and space that is relevant, which that's what I was trying to tell people that people didn't understand. But I think people understand now when they've read the comic. It's about that 3-way relationship. It's the Indari that has like these awesome powers, to Storm and then to Furaha. And they are all from different universes.
Yeah.
And they are all people that, this Indari lost, they have a Storm, our own Storm lost our Indari, and this Furaha lost our Storm.
Yeah, and it's
So
three generations when you look at it like that. It's
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
it's
three
grandmother,
generations burdened
mother,
by
and
tragedy. Yeah,
yeah.
3 generations, burdened by tragedy. And shows that across time and space, we would reunite ourselves as that, as that 3 generations.
Mm-hmm.
In
So
your
right
head,
now, Storm, yeah,
no, go ahead.
no, like right now, technically now, Storm has a mother because she has this adoptive mother that has chosen to force herself into her life, you know, and Storm now has a daughter too that she has promised that she would always go back in different times of her life to go to her birthdays. So people can tell stories of, oh, this is Storm and Farah at when Farah was age 1, you know, or where Farah is at age 3, and different ages. Oh, this is when Farah gets married, and Storm is there to give her away. You can have all those stories because they are not linked by being in the same universe or being in the same time. And Indari can also do that for Storm too. So the way you have, Indari just taking Storm into the DC universe, into Jujutsu Kaisen universe, you can have an Indari going to have spent time with Storm as a child as well, and having that dynamic of motherhood, sisterhood, and that's black family thing, even though their original creation has them dead.
Right.
I have a question for you. This entire exchange with Ferrara always took place in Jamaica. Is that where
Mhm.
Ferrara's from? In your head canon.
In my head canon, I didn't think of it, but it's more of, I think the battle in their universe took her to Jamaica. I don't think she was born there.
Damn it. It's about to have Storm's family branch out and say we have a Jamaican mutant superhero related to Storm. You could have given me that bone, Maria. You could have thrown me a freaking bone, man.
No, it's not canon. So like what I'm saying now is not canon. Who knows what another
You're the
writer
creator,
would
man. It was a trick question. Although I will say that doesn't mean Ferrara's father isn't ghost-like. I mean,
I would love the theory that someone had, like, there was a DC character that actually fits the description of Farah's dad, of the fangs and everything. I've forgotten the name. So they're like, yeah, if Ndari can, send Storm through multiple this thing, yeah, maybe Storm met someone in the DC universe and fell in
that's
love, and
right.
that's
You had Storm cross into the DC universe.
yeah. So that the whole thing of, oh, who's Farah's dad is not even limited to like Marvel
Yeah.
universe. It can actually be anybody in the omniverse.
Right. Because she's multiversal now.
Yeah.
Which character in DC fits that bill? Fangs and everything. It's not Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger doesn't have fangs. I have to think about that one. All right. So she goes, come by, stop anytime. The interesting thing she talks about, she visits every birthday. And it's kind of like, how does she do that? How does she travel through dimensions? And it's mentioned here Storm's family ruby enables interdimensional travel. See Extreme X-Men 2001, number 10. Now,
Yeah.
being a longtime X-Men collector up
I
until
remember
recently,
that. Mm-hmm.
I remember the Extreme X-Men series.
Yep. That's when
Although
she had braids too.
this was in 2001.
Yeah.
I've literally not read that issue in 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Let's take a look at it.
Nice.
Extreme X-Men number 10. Here's the cover by the great Salvador Larroca. And I said we're going to circle back to Storm's hair. And what hairstyle does she have in this issue?
Mm-hmm.
She's got the
Nice
braids.
one.
Even though it irritated me because it was inspired by a white woman, but
I know. I was about to say it's the
Still.
Bo Derek. It's the Bo Derek
Right.
race.
Yeah,
It's so
right. Bo Derek
popular.
praise.
Look, if any of you ever been on a cruise ship, like to the Bahamas or something, you see a whole bunch of white women with this. Let me
Yes.
move on. Anyhow, Extreme X-Men. It was a very unique team. The X-Men kind of became like officially sanctioned international cops,
A little later, yeah. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
They did this weird thing where Bishop specifically was part of the Australian Federal Police, which is like because he's technically Australian, but he was born in New York and his parents are Australian. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Bishop's background is murky,
Yes.
and Marvel doesn't like to talk about it a lot because it's so just he's got several different origins, basically.
That particular series is very special to me because that's the first series that I was able to collect from start to finish.
Really?
Everything else, I wasn't old enough to be like, oh yeah, I started, reading X-Men #1. I wasn't born yet. But this one, I was about 9 years old, I think, when it came out. So yeah, and from start to finish, I was able to collect this one. So this is my first X-Men run.
So we find out that Storm's Ruby in this series is, Gambit's like, I need your Ruby share, because it's part of a collection of ancient gemstones. It's the keystone. No one knows the origins of these stones. A temple on the island of the Principality of Madripoor contains the only known references. And then, Remy, who's part of the Thieves Guild, says, look, one thing we know is that if anyone has more than one stone, we track them down because that's a problem. Because you unite these stones, it becomes dangerous or something. Too much power. We got to get the other stone. And then Rogue's talking to her about. Go ahead.
Sorry to stop you. If you also notice, this is the issue where they talk about, when all the stones were in complete set, that was when the Atlantis fell. Now, so that makes you think, did the stones belong to one of Storm's ancestors? That's Aisha, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's Aisha. And she's the one that made, in Rogue Storm, it's mentioned that she's the one that made Atlantis fall. When people are like, power scaling, he was trying to do power scaling, not knowing that it's literally already in the comics. It's not
from 20
not something like
years
cooked up. Yeah.
Maria does his research.
Yeah, it all makes sense. And again, it's Rogue was on this team wearing red. Rogue Red was on that comment. So it's why I said if you read Rogue Storm after this last issue of Storm, I think it'll be more enjoyable.
I absolutely love how you dive into crates to get these references, man.
Yeah, because that's a dive right there. That's a dive.
It's a deep dive. Like I have not read this issue in 20 years. I had to go back to look at it to see what the heck they're talking about, and it's right there. Rogue's asking her about the ruby, and she's like, "You had no idea? It's a keepsake. The only tangible remembrance I have of my mother. I remember her showing it to me when I was young and telling me she got it from her mother, who got it from hers, and so on and so forth. And back as in as far back as we could remember. You think she knew about its history, about what it could do? I was barely 4 when she was killed." Now here's the discrepancy because she said she was 4, and your story said she was 6.
I saw it. We said 4 here, but there are other comic books that said
6. Yeah.
So she may not remember that well because she was young.
Yeah. I think in Storm, was it 2006? The one by Dickey.
Yeah.
Eric Jerome Dickey.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah. I think she was 6 there. So I saw the 4 years old thing, but I was like, I'm not going to do 4 because I want them to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And 4 might be too young to have this conversation.
Yeah. She wouldn't be in school either.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm like, let's go with 6. Let's go with 6 by take it.
Yeah. They I think it was part of the not sliding time scale. I think they were trying to like creep her age back a couple of years during that period anyways. Because Claremont had a tendency to like really like rush stuff. And before you knew it, I remember like she joined in 75 and it was 81, and then like comic year she'd already been an X-Men for 3 years. And it's like, well, whoa. Slow down.
So here's the most important line here. A friend showed me how to use the ruby to open a portal between dimensions, but the ability was limited. So who was the friend that showed her how to open the portal? Do you guys know?
I don't think it was ever revealed, was it?
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's for somebody else to also do. But all I know is that Storm knows how to use the ruby as a portal opener, which made it easy for her to return to her universe.
That's a whole storyline.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole storyline, man.
Like, that's why we need more solo stuff, because the team stuff is nice, but the solo stuff helps us to be able to like build on some of these things and start linking stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
And one more thing before we leave this. Another interesting thing that happens here in this story from Extreme X-Men is she deals with another gaslighting, manipulative monarch that is trying to possess her for himself.
Mm-hmm. She goes through that a lot, from Doom to so many people.
All right. Sea of Souls, Realms of Death. Many stories are told with their endings kept a mystery. Their secrets are held close to the chest. So mom reading her comic, very meta moment. One of the things that we picked up early on in the series is the narration. Who's the narrator? The voice of who's narrating the story was always a common question that Antoine and I had every week.
Yeah, in my head it was always me, but by this last
I was
page,
literally about to say the answer has been revealed on this panel because this is clearly your voice.
Yeah, but I think by this page, maybe it's Tom's mother that has been narrating the whole thing.
Nah, this is you, dude. Many stories are told with their endings kept a mystery. This is you talking to all of us. Their secrets are held close to the chest. I will spare you the attempted trickery, though. You welcome it. In other words, I'm not going to sugarcoat what happens or, give you some alternate things. This is fast forward. Here's what happened. Olympus falls. Everybody's wiped out. The heirs of Zeus no longer there. Because you rapid fire through all these threads. Here is the ultimate result. Tartarus, underworld. For the end of the story is no enigma. You know it already. The good guys win, the bad guys lose. I mean, that's kind of what I kind of gather from this.
Yeah.
Morrowlands, Araco. Despite great number of threats that surround Storm and drown our very universe. Despite the great number of threats that surround Storm and drown our universe. That seems somewhat deeper than simply bad guys to me, but I could be reaching, although I don't think I am. Storm wins. Get out of my house. So you have the final scene. She's back at the Storm Sanctuary, back in her own timeline, back in her own house, right? And the feds are at the house trying to steal whatever. And she's in her ultimate form, her most powerful form, back in our universe. Get out of my house. Storm wins. Because at the end of the day, and this is to all of us, yes, we're upset the series ended, but let's not let that interfere with recognizing the work that Maria did and the accomplishments he did with this character. In the end, Storm wins.
Yeah.
The character
Yeah,
wins.
because one thing I don't know if I'm being delusional, but I don't think I am, is me analyzing this that I think it is, this sounds like a bad thing to say, but I think I sort of like the fact that it was cancelled rather than if I ended the story. Now, hear me out. That if I ended the story, now I might be wrong, but just, and it might be me just reaching, trying to, cope. But it's if I ended this story to have a proper ending, to have a conclusive ending, a good ending, I would have to wrap up everything. That means the way our dad died, our dad will be off the table, oblivion will be restored, death will be a-okay, something will be done with Galacta, Aegon will be taken care of, so many of those things will be tightly dealt with, and bam, and I'm not thinking that in this current state, that the fact that it's in a flux, I think puts Storm in a very interesting position that writing future stories for her, you now have so much toys to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the Storm Sanctuary is still there. If you want to tell a story that it's just Storm in France, being a crime fighter in France, you can just tell that story. It's a grounded story. For people that don't like the old cosmic thing.
Yeah, 5 miniseries.
Yeah. It can even be an ongoing, it's kind of you like grounded stuff. So it can just be Storm in France, If you want Storm against the authority, you have the FBI. If you want to go mythic, you have Storm with the Storm Gods, you have Mamarangan still out there, you have other stuff. If you want to go mystic, you have Aegon still out there. If you want to go cosmic, death is still out there, eternity is still out there, infinity is still out there. So no matter the direction, if you want to go with the X-Men, it's like, oh yeah, you still haven't, properly dealt with the fact that, you didn't tell us what happened, why you head-butted, Juggernaut and cracked his skull open and froze Cyclopes, and all this other stuff. What's really happening with you? What happened to you? So you have all this drama in all sectors of our life that if a new story, a new writer wanted to explore, there's grounds for it. There's grounds for it.
And any editor,
our rogues gallery has literally expanded.
Yeah.
You have Indari, you have Fraha, you have all these things that might have been too neatly put in the box if it ended properly. But the fact that it's the way it is, they all have this huge story potential. So Antoine, you're saying?
Oh no, I was just saying I agree. That's all. I agree. And I think, another thing I was going to say was any editor worth their salt is going to have to address some of that because of how this ended. It's like, if she's going to just show up somewhere else and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just here. Well, what happened to the Storm Sanctuary? You know what I mean? Some of it, they have to do something with it if they have her show up somewhere else. So that's the other good thing about it, because some of those loose ends are going to have to get tied up.
Yeah.
Or fire the editor, whoever it is. I'm not saying it's Tom. I'm just saying whoever it is. It's like, if they don't address that, they're not.
For example, a lot of people just want to see more of that Indari. Like, they want more of that Indari. Really
I would like to see more of her too. I think it's a very interesting dynamic. A lot of good.
It's funny that you should say that. We have a special delivery. We have a special delivery. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Chocolate, why don't you play our XBCL exclusive video? Chocolate is watching the Knicks play, and he's completely distracted. Check this out from Doton Okonde. Who's this woman in the middle?
This art piece was commissioned by Max Felix Shaw, illustrated by Dr. Akonde. It features original characters by Max Felix Shaw, for the Tochoro universe of some sorts, So these are Storm and T'Challa's children, and these are some of the animals they have, the panther and the hippo. It's 95% complete. It's not done yet, but they know that this is the last Storm watch, and they just needed to get it, out there
This
for us
is
to see.
absolutely incredible.
It's incredible.
Right down to the Dora Milaje to the left, Storm's spear. Did you ever come up with a name with that?
Oh my God, I don't think I remember.
And there's Razor Bill up and flying in the air. That's incredible.
Yeah.
This is a whole universe. This is a whole storyline I'm looking at right
strong
here.
and fights and everything. Yeah, Max Felix Shaw and Dr. always cook.
And over to the right, that dude who is apparently the new Black Panther holding the sword of Bashenga. Wow. I love that. Absolutely love that. So we have that. And we also have our fan art.
Yeah.
We don't have as many as we normally have, but we have a few. I don't know if this is the artist. Go ahead.
It is not the artist. This the date kind of snuck up on me, so I was able to get all the usual fan arts. And I actually have a lot screenshotted, but I actually kind of forgot. Sorry about that.
That's all right. We pulled some stuff off the nets of some stuff that was cool. This one was posted by Nukamga. I don't know who the artist is, so if you're the artist, I apologize.
Yeah, we featured this art before, I think, on one of the early.
Oh, did we?
Yes. So, yeah, it's good to see it again.
This is by Bruno Frenda, posted by Daily Storm.
Frenda.
Use of that. What do you call it? The
negative space.
Negative space. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's stunning.
Yeah.
I love the hair too. Oh yeah, I love this one too.
This is more of a Chris Samney style art.
Yeah, it also it reminds me a lot of some mangas too. I love this. It feels like sometimes we make very good action Storm comic, very dynamic.
Art by Almost Home Free. Sketchy Hedgie.
Nice one. This is really, really cool.
Kind of a Savage Land Storm.
Savage Land Storm.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Marvel Token Storm.
Yeah, the dark themed one. It's gorgeous.
And finally, my favorite, by Mr. J. Hero.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate version of Storm, as interpreted by J. Hero. If you're not following J. Hero's account, you should if you want to see some truly fantastic art.
I love how he illustrates the crown. I love it so much.
Wow. Eclectic Blurred Niche says the artist is Jamaican Davigo. Which art piece are you talking about? The first one?
That was the first one.
Ah. All right. So another one from Bakayad. Appreciate. All right.
You have to do a
Cool.
whole show in your Jamaican accent at this point.
So this is the final page of the comic book. For those who are saying, well, how come T'Challa didn't show up in the book? He did, technically, kind of, sort of.
A
In
couple
an
times.
advertisement at the end of the book.
Well, and he was in issue 8 too, and he made a little cameo in issue 1.
There
See?
was in 1, 7, and 8.
Well, that's right, 7 and 8. Yeah, no, it's missing 1.
Yeah.
I can tell you as a member of the Cult of Bast, that's not enough. But Magic the Gathering, superheroes, I think the advertisement of Storm and T'Challa teamed up in a game is still kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
T'Challa forever, baby. T'Challa forever.
Yeah, and they've been pushing it because it was.
I thought you were strong. Go on.
Well, that's the backup. And T'Challa will always be the goal. Yeah. But you know, Marvel's sidelining my boy right now, so she can.
Man, bad.
All right, we have some questions for you.
Woo-hoo.
Let's jump into these questions. Please, for the culture, can you tell us all? Can you tell us all you can about how Storm got the vibranium armor and the backstory behind it? You never got to tell that part of the story.
Okay, so the story in my head is vibranium can be purchased not in the free market. You have to have license and all those other long story. But the vibranium armor is by I hadn't decided yet if it was going to be Shuri and Moon Girl, but I think I'll probably go with Moon Girl alone. And but when Storm wants to go for the repairs because it's broke, in a fight with her dad, she would take it to Shuri, but T'Challa will end up seeing it, and T'Challa will become extremely sad at the fact that he would first think maybe the design is extremely faulty, and that's why it's broke, because it's vibranium. It's not supposed to shatter this way. And then he realizes that the design wasn't actually that bad, and it's the fight that was extremely bad, and he gets sad that this is what you've been going through alone, fighting things that could, destroy armor like this, and it designs a new version of the armor that is more durable.
Oh, poor Paul.
That was beautiful, Moran. That would have been beautiful.
Yeah, it's been at the back of my mind for a while.
Let's go on to the next question. Can you reach out to Frederica Manson and have them release any concept art they have for the Orisha, in particular Ogun? It was such a great depiction of him. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
I think I have some of those designs.
Yeah, they might include some trade too.
Yeah. What was your personal favorite moment throughout your tenure with Storm? Good question.
There are story moments and there are real world moments. Real world moments, issue 1 dropping and everything surrounding issue 1. Everybody kept telling me this book is selling out, and I was like, people are just trying to be nice and kind, until I discovered they were actually selling out. That was really that blew my mind. Second printing, everything, it blew my mind. It was really, really crazy.
The fandom was hungry for it. We still are.
Another real world one was on Amazon issue 4, I think, of Storm outselling Ultimate Wolverine, issue 1. So that
Oh,
that was
hmm
so that was becoming a Amazon #1 bestseller.
yeah. That well, I still
Um,
shot from that actually. Yeah, that's true.
uh, there are many real world ones. There's another the issue 4 of this one, Stormer's Mightiest Mutant, going crazy viral. Like it's like best for last. It's like save best for
Yeah,
last.
that was big.
Manga people were featuring it was everywhere. Like one single post on Twitter had like 35 million views, something like that. So yeah, that was huge. Um
And number four, and number five of this run, they're basically sold out everywhere now.
yeah.
So
So so those were like the big success stuff. Um the quiet real world moments are when people tell me their personal stories, and it's about how the Storm series, reflects one thing they were going on in their lives. Um, issue 3 of this current Storm run, um, I'm not sure if it was issue 3 or 4. I think it's 3. Yeah, reading 3 again after the personal loss that I experienced,
Mm.
and I was just talking about death and everything.
mhm.
It felt like I was right. It felt like maybe I knew instinctively, and I was writing a letter to my future self on how to deal with it.
Mhm.
So that's also another one. Um, stories I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed writing. I know it's going to be like, oh, you only like fight scenes, but I enjoy writing the Thunder God fights scene in Brazil.
Mm.
It was awesome. And the final battle between Storm and Haddad, you know, of if you strike my planet, I'm the thunder that will follow. Um, yeah. So there are so many favorites moments. Yeah, it was a mixed bag working on the Storm series. There were a lot of exciting, fun moments and everything. And there were times that were filled with incredible sadness too. So
Mm.
I don't want to be, but sadly, I think I'm a tortured artist sometimes. So
My boy, Chocolate, shout out to him. He's going crazy because the Knicks won. They're 2-0. So he's losing his mind in the background.
so
Shout out
congratulations.
to the New York Knickerbockers. Gonna get it done in 4. All right, next question. Has your personal journey been affected by writing Storm? Actually, that
Um,
wasn't the next question. There was this question. Was T'Challa to Fahara's father present for her birth?
genuinely, people will think I'm lying. People will think I'm lying. But when I write for Aha, I genuinely don't think about father at all. In the beginning, yes. In the beginning, yes, but after that, not really. It's just disappeared. She's just Tom's daughter in my head.
Hmm. All right, next question. When is your Black Panther book being announced?
Um, I'm also having fingers crossed that maybe a Black Panther series will be announced soon, and I'm hopeful that it's going to be good. But I don't think I'm the writer.
But you do believe that there will be a Black Panther book announcement soon?
I have not heard any news. I've not seen any signs. It's just me just having that feeling.
What was your personal favorite moment throughout your tenure with Storm?
I already answered that.
Answer that one. Yeah, you did that one already.
Has your personal journey been affected by writing Storm? Yeah, both good and bad. Good one career wise, the Eisner is one. So I wouldn't know the effects yet, but I am knocking on some doors, so I'm hoping it helps open them, or oils the doors so that they open easier. Having that recognition in the bag was, I wasn't even expecting it at all. So just getting that email, I was like, is it a prank? Is it a joke? So yeah.
So some more options opened up for you, even though the Storm book is closing. Having an Eisner nomination is a huge thing. Has that opened up some doors for some other projects for you?
I've not started knocking on them because I'm still working on some proposals. But I wouldn't say it's the Eisner that did this, but working on the Storm series, when I was approaching collaborators for some projects, they're like, "Oh, we love your work. We definitely want to work with you." So that's there. Sending emails to some editors and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, we know you." Unlike before, where I had to send long emails of introduction. It's like, no, you don't need to introduce yourself. Like, we already know who you are. So there's that. So on the career side, it's up. I think so, at least for now.
Yeah, it's up your profile and recognition. And that's what you're supposed to do when you do work for the big two. Use it to spin yourself off into some other projects.
Right. Especially when you work on a character as big as Storm. Because as much as people like to play, she is the biggest Black superheroine in the world ever.
Facts, period.
And she carries weight, period.
But on the personal side, it's made me more deliberate. I know readers might not like to hear this. I think I gave too much of my personal time to writing Storm, and I think some parts suffered. There are people that I think I should have spent more time with, and I was working on the Storm series instead of spending time with them. So kind of feel bad for that. Like, if every issue of Storm was like a 9/10, if it was a 7, I think it would still be okay if I got to spend more time. So I think there's that. I still plan to make all my works like 10, but maybe not spend as much time as I do. So try to give room for personal stuff. So it's the series made me more solemn. I'm still excitable. I still love what I do. I still love comics. I love everything, but I'm a little more cautious. So yeah.
I think I can very much identify with many of the sentiments you just shared.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we readers following you next? What's your next project?
They're still in the works. They've not been announced yet.
I have a tangential question to that. Mm-hmm. Do you have a independent project that you're working
on? I'm working on a couple.
Good. Question 3. Was Storm's rejection of Eternity a mistake?
No. I get what you mean. I get what the question is. I understand what you mean because I was writing it in that direction too. It's it's why I call it the Eternal Storm Saga. It's supposed to be a relationship where they keep splitting and coming back, splitting and coming back. And each time they split and come back, they understand each other a little bit more and they become much better people. Um, the first encounter, it's eternity just bam, I've taken over your body. That's even Doom has to be like, do you know whose body just took control over? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
And the next time it would happen, he asks for permission, like, oh, may I, that kind of thing. But at the same time, he did not trust her enough, you know. This third time, he doesn't even take control of her body at all. They look at each other face to face, and he apologizes for things he has done. Like, I would not do that. You have your space, you have my personal space. Explains all the threats, everything to her. It doesn't. It's not like, oh, it's his sister that has to do it for him or anything. Like, I will be the one to approach you and work all this problem through you. So gradually, eternity is changing. It's becoming less cruel. And gradually to Storm is becoming less rash. When he apologized, he wasn't like, if your apology, I rain down thunder on you, she calms down, she sits, she's more patient, she's more calculating. So yes, rejecting eternity, she would face some challenges that's like, I think I should have said yes, at least for the power, but I don't think she should have, because eternity was not ready yet. Like some people say, even in some relationships, like even if you would still, there's some relationships that even if they are destined to be, soulmates or something, it's not ready yet. That person is not cooked yet. That person still has a lot of trauma, a lot of thorns. They have so much love in their heart, but they have a lot of trauma and thorns that if you enter a relationship at that point, you would just get hurt and damaged. So I don't think it was a mistake, even though they might get reunited later. That was the plan, that they would just keep coming back and improving themselves and learning things.
Do you feel you have developed a personal attachment to Storm?
Yes, but it's like I've always had attachments. Did it grow? Okay, I think I know why I'm answering it this way. There's a personal attachment. It's there. There are aspects of me inside the Storm I write. There are aspects of people that I know in my lives that are in Storm. But because I'd written the Storm series, like the last issue, like months ago, and I'm trying to decompress, and so that I can be able to write other characters. It took a while to be able to write other characters' voices, because I'm still instinctively writing in the mythical Storm voice. So I have to learn to, decompress and try to write more colloquial thing like, hey, what's up? When last did I write, hey, what's up?
When you hear Storm's voice in your head as you're writing, is it the voice of Alison Seeley Smith?
Yeah.
Of course.
So it's that, but I've had time to start detaching. I don't think I would have that issue, but just in case, since people have warned me, I don't want a new writer on Storm and I should be the bitter person, like, oh my God, he's not writing it right. I want to be the one that I should be able to read and enjoy comic,
Yeah. Is the
So
Eisner non something
I've
you've
been
ever
decompressing.
aspired? I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah, so I've been trying to decompress and detach. So that's why I think it didn't quickly click that. Did I grow attachments? I did, but I've been detaching for some months now.
Okay. Is the Eisner nom something you've ever aspired to get?
Yes. When I was still in Nigeria, I think I was always trying to send nominations to the Eisner stuff, but I think so. I was always sending like short stories, web comics, and stuff. But I think one of the reasons why I was sending it to them was because some of our web comics then and stuff are just getting maybe like 1,000 views. So I was hoping that maybe an Eisner norm we get it, more views. And I was always sending proposals to publishers, like maybe with an Eisner nomination, publishers will finally say yes to some of our work. But I think after like Aquagon Brutalizer of Gods kind of didn't occur to me as much. I think the only time it occurred to me as much was me telling Tom that I'm not sure. Maybe it's Dotun Scholars that, maybe we could nominate Dotun for best colorist. Or was it his cover? I can't remember. So I'm not sure. So, but it's something that wasn't in my mind at all. Aquagon Brutalizer of God, it wasn't in my mind at all. So when I saw the Storm thing, I was actually like shocked. Because I think even someone notified me like, oh, I should remember to submit Storm for the Glyph Awards, and I didn't because I wasn't just in that mindset.
So it says, I overall love the Eternal Storm run and Storm Earth's Mightiest Mutant. By the way, about the ending, does Storm take Death down?
It's inferred that she does, yes. But in my own head canon, our fight is mostly with Dr. Voodoo and the Marvel zombies, but the entity Death is going to have interactions and talks with the one above all. And in that realm, I also play some role there, and that's why she was in the realm of death. The cosmic entities, we deal with the cosmic entity stuff, while the mortals and the immortal beings we deal with their own things, and that's where Storm will probably be.
Yeah, and that was her goal anyway, was to get to the one above all. That's who she was mad at.
Yeah.
All right.
Michelle.
You said that
That
better.
is well done.
What you've done in world setting, story scope, reverence, and respect you brought to the character and comic, plus how you just showcased your mythology and culture. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Normally, when Eenie and Meanie devour matter, the matter gets converted into energy, and that energy is used. Is Yulgin different because he is magical in nature?
Yeah, when they eat matter, it gets converted to energy, and that energy is transferred into maggots, and the maggot uses that energy. So, but if it is spirit energy, magical energy, and they consume that thing, it goes into maggots. But what did that magic energy turn into? It didn't turn into physical energy. It's probably turned into, metamorphosis of some sort. So it's more of a binding thing.
Do magical items devoured linger in his system?
It depends, especially what the writer wants. Is the magic system is consumed? Is it consumed as just matter? Like, oh, you just ate a metal spoon, But you can also say what was consumed. Is it a metal spoon and the ghosts of 1,000, murderers that were in that spoon. So it depends.
It always depends on the writer. What was dark magic the reason why Yugun was brought back with Maggot?
I don't think I understand the question, but I would say yes.
Yeah. Was Maggot's resurrection part of the brought back wrong trope?
No, I think it was supposed to brought. It's supposed to be brought. I think it depends on the trope. There's a trope that the person comes back, but it doesn't come back fully and correctly. Something like rock slide that came back as wrong slide. But then there's the one of was brought back, but something bad happened in the technique. So I think it might be more of the something bad happened in the technique.
Will Storm Earth's Mightiest Mutant have a continuation?
For now, I don't think so. Sorry.
Can you tell us more about Storm complete form in the finale of the series? Lasted more longer. How would she utilize those giant hands on her back?
I see them as extra ways. If Storm is using her real hands to hold, like, let's say lightning spears, those other ones could be condensing energy balls, and all those kind of things. Basically, there are extra pairs of hands that she can use to control the elements. She could be fighting with, I don't know, 8 lightning spears. She could be controlling a tornado while those other ones are summoning the sun. So yeah, there are different ways where she could use them.
How powerful is Eternal Storm? Is she stronger than Phoenix? Oh, the age-old question. Who's more powerful, Phoenix or Jean Grey?
I'm not ready for the old drama that will come with the answer. So it's just...
You have learned a lot since we first started this show, Maria. So who was Ferrara's dad? We covered that already. Do you think Black Vortex Elder Storm, fully completed with the 4 hands behind her back, is stronger than the Eternal Storm?
I know Storm fans want me to say yes, but in my own head canon, no. Eternal Storm is just... We've not even seen what Eternal Storm can do. Eternal Storm is ridiculous. Like, Eternal Storm fighting Juggernauts is like, it's not even the thing. Eternal Storm doing some things that... How you would know how powerful Eternal Storm is, even though we've not even scratched it, is Eternal Storm beating 3 Black Winters with 1 single blast.
Right. Yeah.
Is Eternal Storm beating Adad that could only be beaten by the one above all. And Eternal Storm has a secret weapon. Eternal Storm can summon Abraxas. Like, even if Elder Storm could try to go toe-to-toe with Eternal Storm would just summon Abraxas. And then it's like, yeah, what are you going to do? That's the difference between, not to name any names, the other entity cosmic characters and Eternal Storm. When you're fighting Eternal Storm, you are not just fighting Eternal Storm. You are fighting a powerful being that can summon another powerful being.
Right. Like a battery pack.
Why did you decide to have Eternity be an abuser when their real relationship wasn't like that previously? Did anything point to this for you?
In my head canon, Eternity is not an abuser, even in this story. To Storm,
right,
he is an abuser.
But he doesn't
Storm
see
is an abuser. Yeah, he doesn't see himself that way. Even some people looking at it might not see himself that way. If you still look at everything he's doing is to save you and I, is to save everybody. He's trying to save everyone. And which was what the one above all was trying to teach him. To him, Storm is still a part of him. So it's like sacrifice this little nail, this little nail to save your entire body. Like all of us would do it in a stitch, you know.
Yeah.
We don't think about, oh, what about all the cells? All those cells, do they have, relationship? Do they have this thing? You don't care, you just cut it off. Like it's going to save the entire freaking body. Like what's Storm? Storm is like probably like one, I don't know, 1 to 10 raised to power infinity of what eternity is. It's just that small. So, and yet he's still trying. He's still trying because the one above all told him to be like, okay, I respect your autonomy, so I would ask for permission. I'll do this and all these things. So it's that when eternity, people talk about eternity in the past. When eternity talks to Silver Surfer, when he talks to Doctor Strange, it talks with authority. You should do this. And when he even sent the defenders, he talks with authority, he summons, he commands. But for Storm is the host. Now he must not talk with authority, he must talk and ask for permission. That's the difference in the dynamic. So I think that's what people are missing. Like Storm's relationship with in the past, Eternity's relationship in the past with other characters, or even is different from now that he has to be the host. It's a totally different dynamic. And we see it in a lot of stories of, allow me to use the word abuse too, where people say that, but that guy was nice, but that guy is the one that gives us promotion, but that guy is the one that does this, does that, that. I can't believe he could do that to his wife. And it's like, yeah, but you as an office staff, your relationship with him is different from relationship between him and his wife. It's not the same thing. So I think that's what people are missing.
Yeah.
It's not eternity is not going about killing people and doing crazy stuff and everything. If he wanted in this issue to take Storm's body, would probably try it and almost probably even be successful, but it's like I wouldn't. He's trying to be better too, so it's not like is the relationship between him and Storm is different, and it's not something he's used to. All the other entities are usually used to having hosts. Eternity doesn't have hosts. He has avatars. I have summoned you. I've told you to go and do this. I've instructed you to go and do this. But this is his time he has to share consciousness with someone, which is different.
In your opinion, do you think Storm's magic potential could rival the Scarlet Witch in the future? Storm is a fast learner and gifted in the mystic, and you said she can actually expands it and upgrades.
I can't answer the first question for the same reason I can't answer the Phoenix question. But the other one, the other question, yeah, Storm is a fast learner, no matter the field. Even Black Panther learned that, as tactical as Black Panther was, I think there was one time he was playing a game of chess with Storm, and Storm beat him, and it was, he didn't see it coming because she learns fast. And she has the natural proclivity for magic because of her lineage. So she has all that and everything. So yeah. Will she ever in magic? Will she ever rival Scarlet Witch? I can't say.
What is the purpose of Eternity's cosmic horror forms?
I wanted to represent eternity how Storm sees eternity after the experience. This is how Storm sees eternity. And I also wanted something that looks cool.
Okay. When Storm goes back into Black Vortex Elder Storm, does her lightning turn white? And when she is in her base form, does she not wield Black Lightning anymore? Does she get back to her normal lightning?
The Black Lightning is a sign of someone that's rejected eternity, yes, but it's also it's also dependent on her mood, where she's agitated, anxious, angry, and stuff, it's black lightning. But when she's in this relaxed state and in herself, it's white. So, like when she just finished remembering words of her mother and she feels good with herself and she has to destroy the sentinels, the lightning was white. But when she was fighting Undari, it was black, because she was going through a lot of negative emotions. So it's dependent on the emotions she's going through.
We got some super chats. Elder Green Cobra, thank you. So you're saying Storm's daughter's father is actually T'Challa? None of this Logan or Nightcrawler nonsense. You're not gonna get away from these questions on the father. I believe he has answered that. All right. Next question. Also super chat. Sem Comics. I used to think Al Ewing wrote Storm the best until this series. Whatever you write next, I'll be there, King.
Please don't compare writers. I'm a big fan of Al Ewing. I remember when I was learning how to write, Al Ewing was one of those people I learned, of the authors I learned how to write from. One particular technique I learned from him was something I called the double climax. When you're reading a comic book, when it's leading up to that final full page panel, last page that becomes a cliffhanger. When it's leading there. When you get there, like, you feel. But Ewing does something, or at least did something there that it will be building up to it, and you just get to that page, and then you'll be like, oh my God, there's still more pages left. So, and then by you getting to that page at, let's say, instead of page 20, by you get to that page at page 15, for the next 5 pages, you are destabilized. You're like, what the hell is going to happen next? Right. So for those next 5 pages, you're like, okay, is somebody going to die? Is this going to happen? And you're like, and for those last 5 pages, it's got you. Before it now gives you that second cliffhanger. Bam,
I think X-Men Red. I think X-Men Red #5 is a great example of that, because you had the fight with Uranos, and then he punched Magneto's heart out. That was one, and then Magneto comes back at the end, held together by his own will and power, and then that was the second one.
Yeah, most people would end the issue at that first one.
Right.
You would have two. You would have two in an issue. So it's something I learned from him. So yeah, but SCM Comics, thank you so much. I follow your channel. I listen to your coverage of the series. I was still planning that I was going to send you a message to thank you for how you have been covering the series, but I'm happy that you're here, so I can just thank you in person, and at least in e-person. Thank you for the support of the series. Thank you for covering the series. Thank you for all the kind words you always say on your channel. Sometimes I want to drop comments, but if I drop comments, people won't be able to drop other comments, because if people wanted to drop comments and say, this book sucks, after I drop comments, they won't be able to drop comments anymore, and it won't help your videos perform well. So I watch the channel and I love your videos. Thank you.
It's high praise. All right. Seeing how gods are capable of parthenogenesis, was Ferrara born through this process?
I think she had. Storm likes sex too much not to go through that route.
Wow. I'm not touching that. What's going to happen to the zombie army? Is Storm going to help?
Yes. Storm wins.
Storm wins. Last 2 words in the book. So is the first Rogue Storm appearance in 147 still meant to be Eternal Storm?
Man, I know, right? I don't know. Maybe right now it's still, costume-wise, it's still Eternal Storm, I think. And the way she talks, she doesn't talk like she has all her faculty up there. The Black Vortex Storm still has Storm in full control. that rogue storm doesn't talk like storm is in full control, and the costume is white and gold like Eternal Storm. So I think it's still closer to Eternal Storm than Black Vortex Storm. But hey, maybe a writer will say, you know what, that storm, that's a third form of storm. So now she has three forms. So
All right. Wait. So she was True Storm to power the Ruby spell.
no. That's just she doesn't, the Ruby doesn't need like external power. You just need to
Okay.
know the words to say. And the words she said in Swahili means home.
Is there a universe where Indari raised Fihora?
Maybe if Storm doesn't know about that Furaha.
Hold up. Is the astronaut Indari native to the Firaha's universe? That's actually a good question.
No, it won't be possible because there's no Storm does not exist in that Andari's native universe. So there wouldn't be a Furaha too.
Why wasn't Storm Elder Storm hair not on blue fire?
Oh yeah, the blue blazes. It alternates between white and blue.
I guess she wasn't angry enough at that. She wasn't like angry.
Honestly, I just wanted to make sure that any fire that it is, it's not the regular orange fire for reasons that we both know.
Right. Yeah.
While talking to Storm, Eternity mentioned being dishonorable by killing Hadad. Considering Aurora's feelings on her own honor, is this why she disarmed herself to hear him out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she also doesn't deem herself to have honor in that moment. And she also did.
Oh,
she also did something dishonorable to another storm god too, which was Susano.
Question: you play with time a lot with flashbacks and flash forwards. Outside of it being part of your style, is one of the reasons time is played with in Storm because Eternity's connection to it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think this one might be mostly a subconscious choice. It might not be completely deliberate, but it became deliberate at some point. I think I mentioned it in the letter page of issue 12 of Storm 12. So it's subconscious in the beginning, but it later became a deliberate choice. But another reason why this one has nothing to do with Storm per se, but another reason why it's my style is because I think of how we remember events. When we remember events by emotions and not by chronology. If emotions, sometimes causality, but not chronology. If I don't want to always use this example, but let's just say something as small as, you were late to class. Let me not go for anything too deep or anything. If you're late to class and you are trying to blame like what happened, you probably won't go through all the events chronologically. You probably remember, maybe if I'd slept early yesterday, and then you remember that, I could have slept early yesterday if it wasn't because of this guy that was calling me on the call. And then suddenly you remember like 5 minutes ago that, yeah, but I could have entered this class like early, but I had to tie my shoes. You keep going back, but there's a sequence to it. Either the sequence is you are going through first blaming yourself, then later blaming the school, and then later blaming your teacher or something, or you go through money, maybe what you are blaming is money, and then you keep going through everything money cost in your life. There's always this pattern and stuff, and it doesn't matter what role time plays with it. It's just that emotion and logic. So, and that's how I usually try to tell my stories too, because it seems unnatural when we read it, but it's actually the most natural because that's how we recollect things. And I think that is why, I might be wrong, but I think that's why my stories stay with you. When you read my books, I think, I don't want to make proclamations. Like when you read my book, you might not enjoy them instantly on the first read. And then if you read it again, it becomes like super way more enjoyable. Even if you don't read it the second time, if you just keep remembering them, when you now go through that memory process, it becomes more and more enjoyable the more you remember it, because it's already arranged in that sequence that our memory tries to recollect things.
Since Gale is empowered by Galactus goo, is she on par with his herald power wise?
I do, it depends on who is writing, but in my head, I would say she should. Some of his errors are like crazy powerful. She might be on par or more powerful than an herald, but it depends. It depends.
So Eternal Storm was created because of Storm Volume 5 and not the decades of writing building their relationship.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's an odd question.
That's an odd question. There's been a relationship between Eternity and Storm since doing McDuffie Fantastic Four. We've talked about that. And when it comes to retcons, or head canons, it's been there since, the first appearance of Storm, where Storm's eyes are described to be older than time. She's been described as avatar of life at some instances. Our relationship with Eternity, there are some old X-Men comics by Chris Claremont where, you will hear her describe, world, describe the universe in a way that is like dreamlike, and so like she's always been linked to this concept of eternity, of time, of life, and things like that. So it's us just bringing that physical embodiment of that thing and bringing it close to her. Let's make it work.
All right. Oh, sorry. Whoops. So Eternal Storm is created because of Storm Volume 5, and
that was what we just did. Yeah.
Bloodwind.
No, the previous one.
Previous one.
Okay, yes.
So what I'm gathering is Eternity wanted Storm's life to spiral to the point where she would be desperate enough to merge with him.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, and that's why the story too is also structured that way. It's chaos, it's overwhelming.
And then there's a call for Bloodwind. We were talking before about a character at DC that might fill the bid.
Yeah.
That was a Freudian slip. Fill the bill of being Parara's father. Bloodwind, that would be an interesting match with Storm. Is Armor dead too, by the way? Did you kill Armor?
No. I think someone started it on the internet that I killed Armor, but nothing like that happened in the comic.
And I think that's everything.
Oh wow, that was quick.
Yeah, that's all the questions. Well, Maria, where can people follow you to know where your next big project is going to be?
Follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, but I think I'm usually more active on Twitter. Well, I would always try as much as possible to, promote any future projects I have, so that's, wherever you are, especially on Black Comic Lords, you'll be able to know that, oh yeah, there's this project coming up by Murawa Daily. So, and thank you very much. I know sometimes it can, when a series is ending, it can feel sad, but I think we might be too focused on the end and not the journey. This was a 20-issue journey. Like we said, it's not something Storm has ever had before. I remember when this book was announced, there were a lot of people saying, I know Antoine will remember, this book is not lasting 6 issues. There were a lot of people saying this was dead on arrival. There were so many things. So it can feel sad, but it's like, dude, 20 issues, man. 20 issues is not beans in this,
Yeah.
in this current, climate and everything. So it's really good to see this level of success. And it's because of everyone's support, everyone talking about this book, everything. And the success of a book is not just in sales. A lot of people, there's so many things that people forget as time goes on. Someone said a lot of people forget that Watchmen was late, that it was always coming out late, but because it's so good, everybody just said that masterpiece. But the book was late. And now, but if you see some books that are late, you're like, man, that stupid book, it came late. That book is flop. Great, a lot of great books were late. I think Secret Wars was late too. There are a lot of classic books that we talk about now that were not financial juggernauts when they first came out, but now we talk about them a lot now. So this book performed well, sales wise. But it's the part I wanted to say is that it performed well, exceedingly well, when it came to the noise, when it came to, making waves, making the news. Every single month, it was one of the most talked about series in the industry, rivaling, books, the absolute books. So it was even getting talked about more than some absolute books. And it's not because my algorithm is tailored to mine. You see it everywhere. You see it everywhere. So and like we said, even leaving the comic book, our comic book space, So yeah, go to Pinterest, go to Tumblr, you will see fan art from this run. You just come across it. There's one that was still going viral recently of an Eternal Storm that's rendered beautifully. I think Black Comic Laws also posted it on their Facebook page. Beautiful stuff. Chloe Bailey posting,
yeah. Right.
Picture of issue 2. Forgotten, I think there's another celebrity too. So it's just been a fun ride. It's exciting, it's superb. Another level of success is the fact that everyone that worked on this series got moved up to big projects. Lucas Wernick on Exceptional X-Men, on Unbreakable X-Men, and now on Captain Marvel. Major cover artist, Luciano Vecchio becoming exclusive, after working on Storm, and now working on Uncanny X-Men. Mario Santoro, moving up to what's the name?
But he's done the Bishops.
He's working on Bishop right now. Alex is coloring some big books at DC. First he went to Suho, I think just wrapped up, coloring his run, on the main X-Men title. So this is like a huge, success. Mateus Mananini, black cover artist, nominated for an Eisner for his cover work, especially on the Storm series, So yeah, it's just people that have been creating fan arts, stories, everything, finding successes, from covering the Storm series. It's just some people started their blogs because of this series, and they're doing well. Some started YouTube channels. There's a YouTuber called Bebe or something. I can't remember how to pronounce the name. She started covering comics with covering the Storm comic, and now she's covering Secret Wars and some stuff. So Storm Curry, is a channel I've followed, but I think with the Storm series, she was posting way more than she used to post. So it's just been fun. It's just been exciting, and it's thanks to everyone. It's thanks to everyone and their support and keeping the hype alive. And I'm really, 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 grateful. And through the good times, you guys were there. Through the hard times, you guys were there sending kind words. So I really appreciate everyone for being awesome.
Can you take a couple more questions? Apparently, I missed a few here. Let's start first with a thank you to Jay Less for the super chat. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We have, aren't storm gods eternity, anger, rage, and twisted will to be indomitable personified? Eternity mindscape is a superflow, so wouldn't storm be the living concepts or principles? It's actually like 3 questions. But go ahead.
Yeah. The first question, that's true, which again makes them powerful hosts for him. That's because they would, always win any battle, but also makes them bad hosts because if they are anger, rage, and they are indomitable, how do you make them your hosts?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh yeah, they will win against Oblivion because they are indomitable, But how do you make them your hosts too if they are also indomitable? So it's a two-edged sword. Eternity Mindscape is the superflow, so wouldn't storm be the living concept or principles? I wish I understood that question, but yeah.
All right, next question. Ashen Combine. Hello, Maria. You said you had plans for the upper realms like LO.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Land of couldn't be, shouldn't be.
Oh.
White
Hot Room, the Beyonders. What did you have in mind for those realms and the characters associated with it?
It's mostly about death. I said, Storm will be dealing with a lot of stuff happening within the universe, while death leaves the universe to go for the one above all. So it's death probably going through some of those realms, the entities trying to talk to us, we're your sisters, we understand your pain, we understand injustice, and death being like, no one understands my pain, no one understands my struggle, So yeah, it's a lot of emotionality and power displays. Each avatar of each realm, you have to, have their stand against death to stop her from, advancing to the House of Ideas.
So wait, Eternity can't summon Abraxas?
He can, but it's better when he's doing it with a host.
This one's from Kanan White, the great Kanan White. Any creator-owned things you have planned?
Yeah, but I'm still in the proposal phase.
I think that's Kanan's way of suggesting that you might want to consider him to be your artist.
Oh my God, that would be such a honor and a privilege.
If I have that wrong, Kanan, let me know.
If your doors are open, I'll definitely send an email. Thank you so much, Harry. It means a lot.
All right. I think that is all of the questions we have. Oh, he said, I'm open.
Woo!
And that he would be honored.
Yeah. Okay, that was awesome.
And shout out to Mike Davis at Blurts Underground. David
I wrote
Deli,
it down.
Kanan White combination would be
Sick. Because I still remember that Eternal Storm art.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
All right. So, any parting words for anyone, Maria?
I already gave my Antoine.
You gave yours. Antoine, what do you got?
We
Antoine? Let me ask you a question. First of
yeah.
all, I
Antoine
can
be
only
like, F you bitches, you know?
Wait, what did you say, Paul? Wait.
I want to know, like, how has this journey with Storm been for you as a fan?
Wow. It has been. It's been a lot of ups and downs. It's been great from the perspective of seeing the story unfold and seeing the public recognition and the industry recognition, which has been great and well deserved. It's been challenging sometimes because we've had to deal with a lot of nasty stuff and mean spirited people, which can be a drag. But I think in all honesty, the good has far outweighed the bad. It really has, because we're still here. The character's still here. She's going to be around. She's got more stuff coming, and I'm grateful. Honestly, I'm grateful for the time that we've had. I'm grateful for the wonderful storytelling that we've been able to receive and the beautiful art. That's where I'm at. I'm just going to leave it at grateful.
That's what's up.
What about you, Paul?
Well, first, thank you to Michael Davis on behalf of Black Comic Shop retailers. Thank you both.
Thank you so
This has
much.
been a
Thank you for your
series I've
support.
been subscribing folks to.
Thank you.
Trust me, we get into the royalty checks.
This has been a journey, man. A lot of people forget that we talk about how Storm is the world's foremost black superheroine. And they forget the fact that a few years ago, Storm was the black superhero,
Mm-hmm.
period. There was no bigger black superhero than Storm at
Right.
one point. She is one of the reasons I got into the X-Men back in the 80s, Chris Claremont run. Seeing not just a black superhero, but one that was the leader of a team,
Mm-hmm.
was dope to me.
Yeah.
She's had some good writers. She's had a lot of great writers.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Claremont being one of the most noteworthy of them. The Greg Pak run.
Mm-hmm.
The great Eric Jerome Dickey. But what Maria was able to accomplish in these 20 issues is nothing less than extraordinary. He put respect on her name. He gave her feats, unprecedented. And I say unprecedented, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because he dug through the crates to get many of these references. These feats he would often point out is, I didn't invent this. This is way back here. I got this from here.
Mm-hmm.
But no other writer I've ever seen has taken that care to dig through the crates, dig through the lore, and put it all together, tie it all together. Because that's all he really did in many respects.
Yeah.
He simply did the work. He did the homework.
Mm-hmm.
He went into his craft as a writer, and he did the work. And it shows. It shows just not in how popular the series was and is. It shows by the fact that he's now staring at one of Marvel's few Eisner nominations for his work. If for some reason any of the people at Marvel are watching this, please take note of this man's talent. and get him back on a book deal as fast as possible. You would be smart to do so. If you don't, in my mind, I knew him before he ever did anything for Marvel. So I want to say thank you to all the fans, the ones that have helped with their pre-orders on this book, the fans who showed up every month for this watch show and have supported this book, the fans who have reshared and reposted these videos, get other people to know about what he's done and this character and promoting this character, and shown love to the character. He does it for all of you. I sit in this chair every month for all of you. Antoine fights for this character for all of you. And that's a community. That's a community. Storm has a community. Comics has a community. Black Comics has a community.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we want to promote here at Black Comic Words is fostering and nurturing that community as much as we can,
Mhm.
and stay away from the negativity. So with that, I wish each and every one of you adieu, blessings, respect, big up, Black Comic Lords. We got you.